Hey everyone, today is Thursday, the 18th of October, 2018. This is The Gap, episode 441. I'm Luke Lawrie. Joab Gilroy is with me today. How you going, Joab?
Good. Pretty good.
Yeah, you're doing alright?
I'm doing okay. Could be, playing some awesome game, but I'm not, so I'm doing fine.
You're playing on awesome
What about
game.
you? How are you doing?
I'm good. I can't
Comparatively?
I'm doing pretty well.
Comparatively? Yeah?
Call of Duty has been fun this week.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
the basketball's back?
Basketball's back. It's a good week. Can't complain too much.
True.
Can't complain.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, Call of Duty came out, so we have been playing a bunch of that, but I guess we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah. And hopefully people at home that are watching have been enjoying the change on YouTube at least. So we're still sort of working out the kinks, but I feel like we've gotten most of it away. Like, you can see me this week, which is different.
Right. Yeah, I can see you. Yeah, that's true.
I'm using a normally when you use a webcam program, you can only put one output device at a time. So I can't use it to capture and then you also watch what's going on. I can't output it to Discord or something like that.
Right.
So I had to download an application which basically sets up a virtual webcam. So I'm outputting to a virtual webcam, and then I can grab that feed from everything else and sort of output it to the other applications that we use. Which is sort of like what we were doing with the audio side of things, because it works in a similar way. When you capture audio devices, you can only capture one device at a time. And so it becomes this thing of all right, I've got to create virtual audio cables and then making all this other weird stuff. Anyway, so the first thing that I searched up was virtual webcams and how to do all this stuff. And I've got this application now, and it was one of the top ones. And it's working. It seems to be working okay, apart from the fact that my sort of computer slowed down a little bit. So I'm thinking it's farming bitcoins or something in the background.
Yep.
Because it's got porn ads on it as well, which is fun.
Cool.
But they're not showing pictures. It's just to a specific website.
When you said you were searching up for webcam software, I immediately thought you were going to get a bunch of porn stuff.
Yeah, well, what else do you use webcams for other than porn, I guess?
And business meetings, remote business meetings,
Yeah, I guess so.
Does that happen, I guess?
Yeah. Anyway, so if anyone has any suggestions out there, different types of software,
here's my pitch. Yeah, you shadow capture just the screen that Discord's on.
Right.
So then you have us on two images, side by side, and then you just shadow capture the screen, and then you just that'll record my audio and your audio. And
that's a lot harder to then do post productions. Whereas the way I've got it set up at the moment, I don't have to do shit. It's all just working.
What post production is there to do?
Join them all together and do.
Join what together? What are you joining together?
Your bits that I'm capturing, and then you won't be able to see me because it's
You don't have to capture my bits. You just capture me on the screen, and you can see me. I can see me at this point in time on Discord, and I can see you. I can see both of us at the same time on Discord. I could fucking record this shit.
No. I've got fancy backgrounds and shit happening. This week's Call of Duty. We got Call of Duty backgrounds happening.
That is all you'd have to change.
Yeah.
And that's not that hard. Some keyframe, interval. I'm just saying video editing words. Yeah.
Some interlacing.
That's it. Yeah. Trim.
Trim.
Clip. Yeah.
Clip.
Audio mixer.
Group it, and then render it. It's easy. I mean, what else is there to do?
Why don't you should try rendering it in H.264 this time. Last time, this is terrible for anyone who's just listening, which is literally 99.999% of everyone. But he rendered the fucking show in .avi for it's fucking 1999 or some shit.
It gave me the option to exit as well. I nearly did it.
What are you editing in? Windows Movie Maker or something?
Vegas.
Fucking hell! Why don't you have MP4?
I think it is there. I just, for whatever reason, decided to go with that
You're
one.
cooked,
But
mate.
we'll look at it. I'll see if it's quicker the next one.
Of
We're
course it's
learning.
going to be quicker. It's definitely going to be quicker. It's going to be smaller. It's going to be better. Fuck, you should go H.265. It's not like we need fucking high resolution shit. Like, it's not going to matter if there's a bit of blurring and stuff that H.265 does sometimes. Just do it that way. You get, like, the entire fucking 3-hour podcast into, like, fucking 2 megabytes. It'll be fantastic. Just do it that way.
2 megabytes. Yeah. Right. Okay. You're very confident.
Might be a slight exaggeration. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So video games.
Video games. Last week we talked. Let's talk about mobile games. Last week we talked about Piffle, and you recommended I check out Bricks and Balls, which seems to be like the inspiration for Piffle. So Piffle is a mobile game. You throw fucking balls at bricks. You try and blow them up, and it's a puzzle game. I played a little bit more of that, and then I also, while we were recording last week, grabbed Bricks and Balls. And yeah, man, it's like exactly the same type of game, except not as artistically stylish. It's very simplistic in terms of its art style, but it's exactly the same type of game with some slightly different mechanics in terms of different types of bricks. I think you're throwing way more balls than what you normally would. Yeah. I think it's like in Piffle you start off with about 8, and you can get up to upwards of 30 or 40. At the stages I'm at the moment. Whereas in Bricks and Balls, it's like you start off with like 55, and then it's a lot quicker as well. Like the pace of it seems to go a lot quicker. So yeah, man, I was pretty surprised. Mainly because I'm not a fan of when you see games being made and then you see these like knockoffs of them come around, like made out of places like China or somewhere in Asia, where you've got these big games. Like you try and search for something like fucking Angry Birds and you get like 50 clones of it. And that's kind of how I feel about this game. Like I was sort of hyping up Piffle a bit because I thought it was a really cool idea, and it's really just an idea that they've taken from a different game and ripped it off, and I feel pretty bad about that. Like
they've gutted up Bricks and Balls.
Yeah, they've made it pretty and chucked a bunch of microtransactions in there.
Yep, there are microtransactions in Bricks and Balls.
Yeah, I think you've got like gems or something like that.
They are utterly pointless. I have never spent any money. I spent I didn't my wife spent money on our family plan to get rid of the ads, and that's it.
Yeah, right.
You do get a lot of ads. You get a lot of ads in every fucking free mobile game these days.
But aren't the ads in Bricks and Balls like that? You can sort of just press skip and off it goes. Yeah. It's not even like watch it for 30 seconds or what.
They're like 5-second dealios.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm kind of conflicted about that.
Have you played much Bricks and Balls?
No, because it's been a busy week for me.
Fair enough. You don't have to go to the toilet or anything?
No.
That's when I mostly play Bricks and Balls, and then I will have like a 45-minute session on the toilet. Right. I'm up to level 309.
Wow, okay.
It is unbelievably difficult. I think at about 295, it started to get to a point where it was just crazy difficult. It was all the way up. It was working up, and it was like, fuck, this is a tough level. Like, I think I might have like almost reached my limit, and then I managed to push through a little bit further. I don't 3-star every level. I 2-star every level because 3-starring is, I think, impossible.
Is it worth it though? Like, what do you get out of it?
It's just the challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't get anything. Like you sort of earn a few more of those gems.
Yeah.
With extra stars, you can earn an extra 100 or so gems. I'd say I've left about 200 gems on the table, and you can use gems to buy like power ups. But like that is literally one power up I've left on the table.
Right.
Like the value of a single power up. Yeah. So Yeah, it's like about 295. It got to a point where it's just like, holy shit, this is proper fucking tough. And every single level takes me dozens of attempts now,
Hmm.
like properly dozens of attempts. And that's not counting like, because if you have a bad initial blast, you may as well start over. If
Right.
you like, if you fuck up your second blast, you might be able to like get out of it. But if you fuck up your first one, just start over and try again because you're setting yourself up to fail. And like in many of the really late ones, there seems like there's only like one first step on that path to victory. Like every other first step it will take you in the wrong direction. Imagine the fucking scene in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade where they're stepping on the bricks, and there's one, uh, what is it? I guess
Hmm.
the in Hebrew, Jehovah starts with an I, or
Hmm.
whatever,
Yep.
right? There's one letter I, and there's all these other letters. And if you stand on any other letters, you've already lost. But if you stand on the I, you won. And you
Yep.
just have to find that first step, and then you can sort of work your way from there. And it still doesn't matter. There are points in a lot of these super late ones where it feels like you will reach like essentially a reset, like the level continues, but you have wiped out enough of the bottom half of the screen, right? That you've essentially reset, and now you get another shot at your first step.
Hmm.
And again, if you fuck up that first step, you have failed. It's just harder to tell that you failed at that point because you are unable to see how much further you have to go.
Right.
And yeah, like we're talking about like 450 bricks in a single brick worth 450,
Hit
and you
points.
only get
Yeah.
yeah, and you've only got like 86 balls.
Yeah.
So you're looking at like minimum 5 shots to take out one of these bricks, and that's 5 rows. You can't afford to
Hmm.
only concentrate on a single brick. You
Yeah.
have you have to bounce that shit well.
Right.
And yeah, it's super tough, but it just feels good when you manage to get through it. I mean, there's like certainly a large degree of randomness involved.
Hmm.
Or like it's not necessarily randomness, it's just difficult enough to predict that it might as well be random. So yeah, like to that end, uh, there's a bunch of randomness, and with that randomness comes, I guess, a little bit of disappointment when you fail. But if
Sure.
you do succeed, it's pretty easy to attribute it to your own skill because, like, when I say there's randomness, it's just like after enough fucking bounces you can't fucking tell. And like there are power ups that will spit shit in
Hmm.
random spots. But yeah, it's controlled randomness. And so if you can control the randomness enough to actually succeed, then you feel like you've done well. And yeah, like we said it last week, Bricks and Balls is the PUBG to Piffle's Fortnite, one
Yeah.
hundred percent. Like it's just straight up, fuck it. This is Bricks and Balls. Um, Yeah. Anyway, I see that Luke has decided to go close his toilet door.
I'm just worried about the mirror because I can see. No, I'm just in case my cats need to go poop, and then people don't want to be seeing that. It'd be weird.
Okay.
I,
Sure.
I don't think you can see that. Anyway, what I was going to say is it doesn't do the spawning of bricks like in Piffle where the goo ones, if you don't kill them, then it kind of replicates. It doesn't do that, does it?
No, there's
Yeah,
nothing like that.
because that's the only challenging part of that game so far. For me.
Yeah.
I was talking about
Yeah.
it last week where it's like you've got to really focus on those bricks when they come around because they just they can just break your game completely.
Yep.
The other thing, I think you mentioned that the aiming is a bit wonky in bricks and balls. Like, it doesn't seem like the ball is going to go where you're aiming. Did you mention that last week?
No, if I did say anything about that, it's mostly it's not that the ball doesn't go where you're aiming because it always does.
Yeah.
It's because it's all on a much smaller scale.
Right.
The bricks are all smaller and stuff, so uh it's much more generous in Piffle when you like slot a ball past a corner. Like it will go past the corner, but in bricks and balls, it collides with the corner itself. So the path is rendered from the center of the ball, and it doesn't take into account the width of the ball, and
Yeah.
so you can path a ball past a brick, but have it collide anyway because you've taken it too close.
Right.
So yeah, it does go where like you're aiming.
Yeah. It just seems to me it was like a little bit
You can get
off or
fucked a bit.
something. Yeah, it seems a bit strange to me. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, man, it's a cool concept. Like, I'm glad you've opened my eyes up to this because I feel like I gave a lot of praise to Piffle last week, and I think it's a very good game, but a bit disappointed that it's an Australian game that has ripped off. Well, I mean, Crossy Road,
Jacked.
right, was a rip off as well of like Frogger, basically. But
Right, but
they,
I don't think like see that's it, right? I think Crossy Road is transformative, right?
Sure.
Transformative of the Frogger concept into the endless runner concept.
Yeah.
And I think that is very different to what Piffle has done to Bricks and Balls, because Bricks and Balls is transformative of the breakout concept,
Sure.
right? The ball brick collision concept, right? That's what Bricks and Balls does. It transforms that into a sort of Tetris style thing.
Mm-hmm.
Piffle doesn't transform.
no,
No, it's not transformative at all.
it's not doing anything with that genre.
It's like it's properly derivative. That's what you would say. Like that's how you describe it. It's derivative, not like not a rip-off necessarily, because it's certainly possible that people would come up with like the same idea independently, and Piffle
Sure.
does it in its own very unique style, but it is extremely derivative of the concept of bricks and balls. If we recognize that something has already been there, trodden that road before. I mean, fuck, there might be another. Like, there might be something before bricks and balls
Yeah,
that we're not aware of. It's
we're
not
missing.
we're not fucking experts on the bricks and balls, the breakout clone
On the
genre.
mobile platform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Breakout. As like I've always loved Breakout's always been one of my favorite games. I mean, I think at its core, it's like the saddest version of Pong, right? Imagine Pong, but you play against yourself because you don't have any friends.
Yeah.
Like that kid who folds the table tennis up and hits the ball against the table tennis like it's a wall, so that he can play table tennis against himself.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have any friends. But again, like that's my harsh interpretation of it, because as a twin I always had like a player too, so I don't know.
And it was like looking at a mirror.
Shut up.
I guess
Anyway.
like Peggle, right, is similar to that breakout type style, but
Yeah,
they changed that formula a little bit.
shit. Like Peggle is transformative of Puzzle Bobble. Puzzle Bobble is the one you mentioned last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Peggle and Puzzle Bobble are much closer related than it is to Breakout. Although Puzzle Bobble certainly, I don't know, draws pretty deep from the Breakout well. Fuck, I can't touch the desk.
Don't touch the desk.
Don't touch the desk.
Yeah. I mean, like Piffle, I don't think is a bad game. It's just that I went into it thinking that they'd created this cool idea, and I was like, oh, actually, it's just the same as the other games that are sort of out there. So yeah, that's okay. I mean, it's not a bad game.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going with it. Anyway, should we talk about Battlefield 5?
Battlefield 5.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I played some of this the other day, the single player. I went to an EA event where they showed off War Stories, which is the single player campaign, which they put in Battlefield 1. It's these like self-contained short stories about soldiers in the war, and this time around they're doing a very similar thing of the last game of like, here's 5 short stories where you'll play as a soldier, and this is kind of what they went through and what happened. The creative or the design director is back again from the last one. He was the one doing the tour in around Australia, and so he has a little bit of experience going into this one. Basically, they showed us 3 of the levels that are going to be in the game. I will probably try and be a bit vague in terms of story, plot points, and spoilers, because it is heavily story driven, and because they're very short, 1.5, 2 hour sort of contained stories. I don't want to go like, hey, this is what happened at the end, and I'm sure they don't want us spoiling that sort of thing. But anyway, so yeah, there's a handful of missions in there. The first one we checked out was called Nordlies, where you play as a young lady whose mother has been captured by German Axis forces, and you go in to try and rescue her. And this particular sort of mission or campaign is set in like...
Wait, hang on. Did you say German Axis forces?
German forces. Sorry.
Nazis,
yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's set in Norway, this one, and it's like the snowy backdrop. And the cool thing about this is you get skis and you get to ski around the environment, which is interesting, like an interesting way of getting around. And they're quite big, like it's not an open world, but it's like a decent sized hub where you can sort of make your own way through the level. Like there's different paths you can take. In the first mission in particular, I decided to go as stealthy as I could. The game sort of does have these sort of spots where there's like ammo crates or new weapons, and it's like, all right, here's a heavy machine gun, or here's a silenced Kar 98 with a scope, or here's a fucking rocket launcher or something like that, like, and dynamite. Like it gives you different options to kind of go through that level. If you want to play it stealth, you can go. If you want to just run in and just shoot everybody, you can do it that way. So I tried to take it as stealthy as I could. You can run up, basically melee people in the back. There are like, in this particular mission, there are like alarms set up throughout the camps, and you can go in and disable the alarms. It stops reinforcements from coming through, and that sort of thing. So yeah, so you're basically looking for your mother, and it sort of plays off into this story about, like, you find out that the Germans are trying to create heavy water and eventually try and make a nuclear bomb, and you're trying to stop that. And so that's kind of where that story takes off. I think the main focus of this stuff is going to be heavily reliant on how good these stories are, because it is at the end of the day like a toned down sort of, like, it takes those concepts from Battlefield and it tries to give you like these Battlefield moments within a single player campaign. Right. But it's not like what we've come to learn from most shooters, where it's this like, or Call of Duty or things like Doom we've seen recently, where it's this push forward combat. There's always things happening. There are moments like that in some of these campaigns, but they do change up the pace quite a lot and kind of let you do it your own way. So that was the first one we saw in Orderlies. There was Under the Flag, which was a one-act... In Orderlies, we played through the entire campaign to get a sense of sort of what happens from beginning to end. Under the Flag was a one... we played Act 1 from that one, and you're basically a British SBS soldier, and they...
Special boat service.
Yeah, I think it's something like that. I think I wrote it down, but I've got my notes here, so if it looks like I'm looking down, that's because I am.
Sure.
Yeah, basically the idea behind this is you're playing as this young man whose father was a bit of a known person in the British around that area, and a bit of a troublemaker. And I think the son is sort of going down that same path. And because I talked to the dev about this to kind of get a bit backstory and an idea of what's going on, because there is a cutscene, or there are cutscenes in this sort of play out, and basically your character is sort of too off the rails for the normal military. Like he wouldn't work. So they're trying to put together this unit of rough sort of ragtag people, and that's how that story sort of kicks off. And you're in this small unit who sets off in a canoe and is trying to go like behind enemy lines and sort of disrupt the German forces from inside. And in that particular mission, you're basically trying to sabotage a bunch of planes that are there. And again, you can sort of play that one the same sort of way. I tried to go as stealthy as I could to take out a few people at the start, and then sort of all hell breaks loose. Things obviously don't go according to plan during the mission. And there's some cool battlefieldy type moments involving planes and all sorts of other things that sort of happen, explosions and whatnot falling in front of you.
You're not painting the best word picture. I'm going to throw that out there.
I'm trying to avoid it. Spoilers.
Are the battlefield moments the spoilers?
So, like, in this one in particular, it's like you're trying to blow up a plane and you sort of put sticky dynamite on it. It doesn't work, and the plane takes off, and all of a sudden, the plane's coming after you, and you're on foot, and you're trying to figure out how to deal with that.
Press Z.
Yeah. The third act was you're playing...
Hey, speaking of, hang on.
Sure.
Were you playing on console?
No, we're playing PC. All of them were PC.
What?
I know, crazy, right?
That is crazy.
Yeah.
How many of the people there were playing on controller?
They didn't have controllers set up as far as I'm aware.
What?
They had mice and keyboard for everyone. I thought I checked, and I'm pretty sure it was mice and keyboard all around.
That's amazing.
They would just like pick a station and off you go. Yeah, off you go.
Wow.
The third map, the third campaign I played from the first act, you're playing as a French colonial soldier who enrolls to go and fight. And it's not really kind of what they expected. They get there, their weapons are taken from them, and all of a sudden they're filling sandbags. And complaining about it, like, hey, when am I gonna get my opportunity to sort of help our country?
Kill Nazis.
Yeah, and then the opportunity does come up, and you end up in this operation. And that particular mission we were doing was a bit more offensive. It was, you're in this forest. There are bunkers everywhere. There was one moment where you're sort of going down this sort of incline, and it's like I don't know, like it could have been like a maybe dried up river or some sort of valley, but you get to the bottom and then you start working your way up into like trenches and bunkers, and then you start sort of holding an enemy like a defensive position as people start coming at you with tanks and whatnot. So that one was a bit more run and gun focus, which is a different sort of style of pace. And so the thing I guess they're trying to really pay attention to is look at stories that haven't been told in World War II games in particular, because they talked about how like everybody's played Normandy, and like we've all seen that.
Normandy's a classic. Why the fuck wouldn't we want to? Oh my god.
Yeah, we've all seen that. So what they're trying to do is tell diverse stories that haven't been sort of explored before. And so like that's their kind of deal with that one. It wasn't anything mind-blowing what I saw. I guess we have to kind of wait and see. I know that a lot of people liked the war stories from the first game. In particular, I know Nate talked up the Australian campaign quite a lot, and I don't know if he was just being biased because it's an Australian campaign or if it actually was the best one in that group.
No, it was.
Yeah, but like I'm going to spoil the prologue for anybody that hasn't played it. What I thought was really interesting about the prologue in Battlefield 1, like everybody dies. You're playing through this game and it goes through all these perspectives of soldiers where you don't win. Like you're not a super soldier that ends up destroying all the enemy forces and saving the day. It's about a regular soldier on the ground who tries their best, and you end up not winning all of these situations. I thought that was a bold choice, and I think we're going to see some of that stuff here. This is kind of like the untold stories about, you know, people that aren't necessarily doing the biggest and baddest things in the world, but they're contributing in some way, and some of those people may not survive. And I think what's cool is that it's like short, contained sort of stories that you can play. Like, I want to do this one. This sounds really cool to me. I want to jump in the plane and shoot down planes, or I want to, you know, do this tank mission. One of the last sort of war stories you can do is called The Last Tiger, and it's about the Tiger 1 tank in Germany, and how like this enormous tank just shows up in the middle or towards the end of the World War and starts just fucking destroying all the other tanks, and like nobody knows how to deal with this tank. And so what I didn't get to see this mission, but they showed a short trailer for it. I know there was a trailer that came out yesterday. I have not seen it yet, but I think it's one of the trailers they showed us. And they talked about how they want to put you in this like beefy ass tank and put you in like an unwinnable situation and see what happens. And I talked to the developer about like...
Wait, hang on. You're piloting a Tiger?
You're in a Tiger 1.
Are you a
yeah,
German?
So I was about to say that. I'm sure I spoke to the developer about playing as a German soldier and sort of what direction they're going with that, and if they're trying to get people to sort of sympathize with their... like the reasoning for that, or like how are they trying to tell that story exactly. He touched on it a little bit, so I've got an interview for that one going up.
What did he say? When does the interview go up?
It'll be up by the time you hear it, or at least
go and read the whole thing on Survivor, right?
Yeah, Survivor will be there.
So go and read the whole thing. Absolutely, give Luke the clicks he deserves, but you gotta fucking tell me what the fuck did he say?
I don't remember word for word because I haven't transcribed it yet, but he talked about how they're not trying to make people sympathize with what they're doing, because obviously, you know, it was them, but they're trying to tell unique stories and sort of give people a look at how or what they were doing back then, and sort of what these...
This is the highest fucking shit I've ever heard in my life. They were Nazis.
Yeah.
And they're getting you to play as a Nazi as the protagonist? They're making a Nazi a protagonist?
I don't know if it's a protagonist.
Oh. How the fuck would it not be? He's the hero of his own story, isn't he?
I don't know if he's going to be a hero at the end of the day.
A good guy.
He might just get fucking destroyed at the end. And then just, like people teabagging him, like...
If he's not the only one, no, what they have to do is disable the tank and drag him out of the tank and then fucking try him for war crimes. That's the only way they get away with this. That is insane. I cannot believe that they're going to do this.
Yeah.
This is the fucking craziest shit I've ever heard.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
So anyway, you can go read my
How can you keep dodging around the word Nazi?
Oh no, because I'm not. I didn't write any of that stuff down. I wrote just because I think there's like little blurbs that sort of start at the beginning of each one. And I just wrote down sort of like, here's the description. And because I couldn't play The Last Tiger, I don't know what the description was. So, and that's the one where you play as that. But anyway, so yeah, you play as a Nazi tank. I think a tank driver. Like, I don't actually know. I just kind of saw the trailer and spoke to him about it, but that's the vibe I was going for. And he seemed to, he was very careful with the words. It took him a little while to answer that question, but once I do go through that interview and I'll transcribe it, it's up there. It'll be up there.
Oh, I'll read it.
Yeah.
I'm staggered. Like, especially, look, I'm always loath to sit, like, you know, the concept that everything is political now, right? I'm never one to buy into it wholesale, because I do think that you can apoliticize, and I understand the idea that, you know, being apolitical is a political statement in and of itself, but that doesn't make it good or bad or whatever. Like trying to divorce yourself from politics, I can understand why you do it. But giving people the opportunity to play as fucking Nazis in the current uh fucking the state the world is in, where Nazis are making a resurgence, where stupid fucking idiots in the Australian Senate are repeating fucking neo-Nazi slogans or voting in favor of neo-Nazi slogans and shit. Like, and in the States, Nazis are like doing whatever the fuck they want. Like, I cannot understand how you would have someone play as a Nazi unless you do some shit to really fucking ream Nazism.
What are they called in the multiplayer?
The German forces.
Okay, German forces.
Yeah. Look, I've always understood it in multiplayer, right? Because I know that people don't want to play as Nazis, and you are attempting to represent World War II in a multiplayer setting. And so you don't want to make people play as Nazis, and you also don't want people who don't want, like, you don't want people to have a philosophical, not a moral objection to playing on one of the teams. And worse still, you don't want people to have a fucking moral inclination to play on that team either. Good, like, fuck that. But like, yeah, so I've always understood it in fucking. But there's no, like, if you're telling personal stories about World War II, you can't put a German dude in a fucking Tiger One and then pretend he's not a Nazi. Like,
I guess we'll see when we get to play it. Maybe that's why they didn't let us play it.
Yeah, maybe.
It was the last campaign that you could select. But I'm pretty sure you can do those out of order, right? You could do it in the original out of order. You play whatever one you want. And I think the reason why it was locked is because it was a preview build.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway.
So nobody got to play it?
No. There was a prologue, which we got to play, I think, like certain bits from that, like certain bits in that campaign. Like you sort of start off as one person, and it sort of brings you across to the next person. The prologue only goes for a couple minutes. So yes, there was a moment where I was in a tank, fucking up other tanks, but I didn't get to play that campaign. I played the prologue. Okay. The other cool thing the game does is all the voices are in their local language. So as you're playing as this Norwegian...
birdie, 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 birdie.
Everything is subtitled. And I don't know if other than the British obviously is in British.
Cheerio, Governor.
Yeah, a lot of
Let's all get in this canoe.
Yeah, and but otherwise, like all the other stories will be in their local language. So they talked about how not wanting to have this like fake German accent, speaking in English, that you see in the movies and that sort of thing. They didn't want to do any of that, so everything's in their local language, which is an interesting way to tell it.
Sure.
Anyway, so yeah, man, I don't know. I'm interested to sort of see more of where it goes. I am not. Yeah, I'm not. I didn't play a lot of the war stories from the Battlefield 1. I played like bits and pieces of them.
Yeah.
So, it's interesting that we talk about this, like, how single-player games are dying and whatnot, and you've got a game we're about to talk about, which is Call of Duty Black Ops. It doesn't even have a single-player, whereas Battlefield has really changed the way they've done their single-player, from these, like, Bad Company, these long, sort of 12-hour, 8-hour stories, to these short, contained sort of like pieces of content, and how that sort of works. So yeah, I'm curious to see what happens with that, but it was fine. It like wasn't doing anything revolutionary to me. I feel like you're just in it for the stories for this one, if that's what you're gonna like. So yeah, it looks pretty, like it looks fucking pretty, runs super well, all the Battlefield-y stuff, but like I don't go to play Battlefield to play the single player campaign. Whereas Call of Duty, I would generally go and play that single player campaign because I enjoyed a lot of those stories in there and what they were doing. But Battlefield is different for me, at least.
Yeah, totally.
Cool.
Yeah, like I think I was saying this yesterday to Nate. Like for me, the linear shooter where you move from point A to point B and shoot some things along the way. At this point in time, for me, it's basically a walking simulator. Like I get nothing out of it anymore. I do not like shooting mindless AI elements until I can reach the next point so I can learn some more story. Like it's it does nothing for me anymore. I can't bring myself to enjoy those games. I need some fucking room to do my own thing, to like handle things a certain way or to have some impact on the game world. And if I don't have that, then I've got literally no interest. So
Sure.
Battlefield 5 for me, I mean, I want to see what they do when they turn you into a Nazi, but outside of that, I've got very little interest in seeing what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't care. Like, yeah, fucks. Call of Duty hasn't had a good single player in fucking years, so I think getting rid of it was a fucking good idea, to be honest.
Yep. Yeah, I think so. Should we talk about that?
Let's do it. Let's go.
Call of Duty Black Ops 4 came out
Black Ops 4
last week.
How much of the regular multiplayer have you played, Luke?
Tiny bit. I think I'm up to level 10 or something like that.
Right.
A little bit. Yeah. Have you played any of the regular multiplayer? No.
None.
So,
Zero.
yeah, the regular multiplayer. I think what's interesting about that is that they're still like persisting and going with this. Here's fucking 15 game modes, and which one do you want to play?
Yeah,
I think that's strange. Like in this sort of where games are going these days, they seem to be like one of the only ones that are still doing that sort of thing. Because it's a little bit overwhelming. You jump in there and it's like they're sort of doing like their featured game modes for the week. Like this week is Control Point, and then here's 3 other modes. Here's Heist, which is basically I've heard it referred to as like their Rainbow Six mode, which is
more Counter-Strike.
Yeah, which is interesting, right? Because it's I mean Counter-Strike, but all the people that I've heard talk about it, right, it's like Rainbow Six's mode,
right.
Which is telling of the way things go on.
It's telling of how much
Rainbow
Six has captured the fucking the zeitgeist, the popular fucking competitive shooter. But it's way like that's the one where you buy guns, right, and you try and steal some money. Like, how the fuck is that not Counter-Strike?
I don't know. Man.
I don't fucking know.
I guess like the old school dudes are still playing like Counter-Strike, and the young blooders all playing Rainbow.
It's pretty huge though.
Yeah,
it's huge if you're a Rainbow fan.
Yeah. So I played a bunch of I've been playing Team Deathmatch.
Of course you have. Everyone does.
Yeah. I played one round of kill confirmed where you have to kill somebody. They drop a dog tag. If you pick up that dog tag, you get a point to your team. If somebody in your team dies and you pick up their dog tag, it denies the kill.
Team deathmatch, but slightly less shit.
Well, it sort of it tries to negate you from camping. You've got to push forward and try and confirm these kills, which is I have fun with it. But I jump back into team deathmatch. I've been playing a bunch of that. I'm having fun with it. Like I like the fact you're unlocking guns and unlocking weapons. Like every round that I play, I'm leveling up 1 or 2 ranks, and it's like, oh, here's a bunch of new guns, or here's the gun that you're using, and you've unlocked all these attachments for it, and different perks, and sort of changing a loadout. This reward system I like it, and yeah, it's fast paced. Like it seems like they're very small, contained maps, but yeah, they're a lot of fun. So I've been like playing in between when I've got a couple of an hour to spare. You can get a couple of rounds in. They're super quick rounds. and yeah, I'm enjoying it. Like it's fun. I don't know if it's like my main. Well, I know it's not my main mode, but I'm enjoying jumping in there and just stuffing around for a little bit and unlocking different guns and sort of seeing how that's going. And I enjoy the pace of it. It's not as sort of quick as Black Ops 3. Was that the one where you're like wall running and
Yeah.
like double jumping, like jetpacking?
Infinite Warfare was the same. I think Advanced Warfare was the same.
Yeah. This
Yeah.
is not like that. I mean, the grapples in there, but that's
Right.
specifically for certain classes.
Yeah.
And otherwise, yeah, it's pretty run and gun. So yeah, it's cool. I dig it. The other mode we've been playing is zombies.
Zombies.
Zombies
Yes.
is I've not played zombies in Call of Duty game before.
Oh.
So for
Okay.
me, it was interesting.
Yeah.
I really wasn't sure what I was in for, and the amount of sort of gameplay and like what happens in those games blew me away a little bit because I was expecting sort of just basic horde mode stuff.
Yeah.
The things that I've sort of got accustomed to with the horde mode games are your Gears of War, where you're in this area and you're starting to build like defenses and fortifications. You get points for kills, and then it's like, all right, I'm going to upgrade my gun, or I'm going to build a turret here, an automated turret, and that sort of thing. And then when we played the Division, they had that mode where it's this sort of larger area. You're earning points for your kills, but then you're going, all right, I'm going to spend 1,000 points to open this crate, or I'm going to spend 2,000 points to open this door. And then once you open that door, you can start expanding and exploring a different area. Black Ops seems like it's gone, like it is that sort of Division horde mode, where it's this giant area, you're getting points for kills, and you're unlocking different areas in the map and exploring it. What it does differently, though, is that there's objectives within the world, and you're sort of completing tasks and going from one area to another and collecting items to sort of help you combat these zombies. I think that's fucking awesome. It's like a really interesting... It's like a raid or something from World of Warcraft, or... I didn't play Division, but... I didn't play Division raids as much. I played one, the first one.
Right.
But... yeah, it's this interesting way of like, all right, here's some tasks to do, and go and do it. Like, we spent fucking ages playing some of the zombie mode,
Yeah.
and like reading up, like, how do you do this specific task? Like, I think we played like 3 rounds of zombies or 4 rounds and didn't even know that half this shit was in there. We were just killing zombies, and then it got to a point where I was like, oh, there's all these things you can go and do.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. That's so much fun. The only thing I'm a little bit disappointed is there's no end, as far as I'm aware. It just keeps on going and going, and I don't think the end.
There might be an end.
There might. Yeah, because I feel like and I'm hoping there is an end, because it seems like you get to a point where you just can't do anymore. Like, your guns aren't doing enough damage to this level of whatever round you're in, and it becomes this game of just running around trying to survive as long as possible. I don't know if that's fun. And the reason why I think there must be an ending, because you can't level up your guns any further. So, like, if you could keep spending points to give them more damage, there's a fucking bug flying around here. But yeah, if you could do that, then that'd be cool, because then you can keep just playing and playing and playing, see how far you can get. But that doesn't seem to be the case at the moment. That's my only criticism about it.
Yeah.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. Yeah, we've played 2 of them so far. The Titanic, the boat one, and the Colosseum 9.
IX.
X. Yeah. So we played those 2 so far. We definitely did better on 9 than we did on whatever the fuck the Titanic one was.
Well, I don't think we knew what we were doing. We were just playing like normally.
But I think also that 9 might be a little bit better constructed from the get-go, because you've got those challenges right off the bat, you know. So while the tutorial takes place on the Titanic one, I feel like it should have taken place on 9.
Hmm.
Because yeah, you get those challenges right at the start of a round, where each of you gets a challenge and you just have to complete it, and it could be just like kill 6 zombies with equipment, or get, what is it, 13 knife kills, which is always tough after the second round,
Yeah, like shred
or
armor from this big bad.
5 headshots in a row. Yeah, and it just keeps cascading and cascading and cascading. Oh my lord. So you've got these challenges that you have to do, but like they're available right from the get go, and what they actually do is direct you to a lot of different places throughout the map, and they also teach you some things. Like it'll be like survive around in the temple.
Hmm.
Teaches you to find the temple, and the temple leads to the pack-a-punch. The pack-a-punch is how you upgrade your weapons. Upgrading your weapons is pretty critical to survival. Like further than that, while you're trying to find it, you also find there's another one that tells you that you have to like defeat 2 of the challenges, and the challenges you have to find in the temples. The temples have gongs. You ring the gongs. You kill the challenges. Like
Can I
that
just
sort of,
add that like all
yeah,
this stuff we're talking about, there's not like an objective list. It's just things you go and find. Like these
yeah,
challenges, it's just a banner on the wall, and you don't
yeah.
know it's there until you go up and interact with it.
Mm.
Same with the gongs. Like the gong is just on the wall, and until you go up and stand next to it, it's like press F to gong or whatever it
Yeah,
is.
press F to gong.
Yeah.
That's totally it. Yeah, like but it's super cool because it teaches. I think that more organically teaches you how to play zombies than the tutorial in the ship one teaches you how to play, because the tutorial is like it broadly teaches you what you need to do. It does tell you about getting the sentinel artifact, which is the next step to where you need to to really unlocking the rest of the ship and stuff like that. But it's very restricted in really illuminating what you're supposed to do. You do things, but you don't really know why you do them. The ship one, I find like I still don't know why we drain the water out or anything like that. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot that we do in that one that we do because it's possible and not necessarily because we have a reason for doing it. Whereas in 9, I feel like we do have a list of things like I'd say we've got like 60% of the way there.
Mm.
Apparently you are supposed to be able to like escape the Colosseum. You're supposed to be able to do something to escape the Colosseum. I have no idea what the fuck it is, but yeah, it must be in there, and we have a bit of a path to doing that. And there's also like you find hints in the achievements and stuff like that. It's very much a puzzle that you're trying to solve while 100 zombies are trying to eat you.
Yeah.
And it's fucking cool. It's a lot of fun. I mean, I've talked about playing zombies before. I've always been a huge fan of it. I think this one is certainly one of the more interesting takes on it, because there are like the different maps are so very different. I feel like previously each map has been quite similar thematically, whereas this one, 9 is a Colosseum. There's a ship, something about like the Ether realm or something. I'm not sure what's going on with the other 2. But there's 4
Oh, there's
maps.
2 more, right?
Yeah, that we haven't even touched, right? Like,
And like
yeah,
the thing is, we've done the shield. We've done like a bunch of the challenge. I think the challenges are just there to purely give you upgrades along the
yeah.
way, or like more items. That seems like just an
Yeah,
extra
so
thing.
the challenge is there's an achievement for lasting to level 20 in that start without opening any doors,
Oh, okay.
like in that starting area.
Yeah.
And you have to do challenges to get there, and you also have to get pretty lucky,
Yeah.
because you have to dodge having to go down the temple or anything like that.
Hmm.
But that way you can get the pistol gun, and you can get something else. I
Yeah.
think it's eventually. Yeah, so that's a different way to get some different weapons. Yeah, so that's what the challenges are definitely a path to upgrade, but they also encourage you to explore as well.
Hmm.
Yeah, there's special abilities as well, and I think they're pretty good. We're still learning stuff about them. I only like at the end of we had an 82-minute run the other day,
Yeah.
like with one go through the zombies level. We
Yeah.
had an 82-minute run, and at the end of that run, I worked out that your special weapon can level up.
Yeah.
We haven't explored that concept at all, but it does seem like we should be using our special weapons basically the moment they're available,
Hmm.
to level them up so that we can get the really powerful extra traits out of them and stuff.
Sure.
So yeah, there's that stuff that we haven't explored at all. You've got I think the thing I like the least about it is it has this I don't know,
It's
this
like a perk
bullshit
system.
mechanic, yeah, that allows you to upgrade, to drink these elixirs, and these elixirs you mix them out of a bunch of this juice shit you get
Yeah.
whenever you finish a round of zombies, and the elixirs are largely one use only, and it takes 5 or 6 rounds to get a good elixir. So yeah, you then use it for, it sort of feels like, I don't know, it just feels pretty scummy, although
Yeah.
they don't sell anything with it, so I'm not sure why it's constructed like that
Yet.
economically, yeah, true.
Yeah. Yeah. So
But
yeah, I think that's unbalanced a little bit. You get these. So there's like a dozen that are common, and they're the ones that you unlock as you progress through the game, like as you start ranking up. And those ones in particular can use as much as you want, anytime. But once you sort of craft these more powerful elixirs and charms, they're the ones you can only use once a game. Sorry, you can only use it during a game, and they sort of disappear. I think it's 75 elixirs, or
yeah,
whatever the fucking
the
juice things.
yeah,
You craft, you'd like trade in that, and then you get, I think, 3 or 4 elixirs that it crafts and like 1 charm or something like that.
yeah.
And we were doing like games where we'd finish and it's like you get 5 juices, and it's
Five
like
juice, yeah.
fucking hell. All right, fair enough.
Okay, so I'm only fucking 40 more of those games away from getting a decent juice, I guess.
Yeah.
A decent elixir. Like,
And it's
yeah,
random as well. Like you trade them in, and it's like, all right, well, I got something that I may not even use. Like there was one that I got is like you start with a level 2 weapon, and I don't know, like it wasn't like an epic or a legendary perk, but at the same time, I'm like, why would I use this anyway? It's not like a huge
yeah.
benefit. I mean, it's not long for me to get a level 2 weapon, and we can easily do it. So yeah, some of that stuff's a bit
I
shit.
did have a good one that, what was it, it allowed me to spawn a nuke power up on the, when I popped the elixir, it would
Sure.
spawn a nuke power up immediately,
Yeah.
which would be perfect for that last second emergency wave clear.
Hmm.
But yeah, the flip side is that the free elixirs, there's a bunch of standard free elixirs that you get, and they're all good.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Once you level up a bit, they're good. There's one that you can teleport away.
Hmm.
It takes you somewhere random on the map. It does seem, I'm convinced that it's time coded or something. That's my guess. Because I think twice you and I both teleported away, panic teleported, and both panic teleported to the same fucking room. It definitely happened twice. I don't know if it's happened every time, but
I thought I got rid of my teleport.
really.
I think I replaced it with the one where I teleport to a downed player.
First of all, why? Second of all,
Because I'm not a pussy.
fuck off, mate. Fuck off, champ. The amount of times I've got the teleport to a down player and teleport away because I'm the fucking gangster. I teleported in and saved your life so many fucking times. Get the fuck out of here with this pussy shit.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. How dare you?
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, I think the perk system, I don't like it. It's too grindy for me. And if they do eventually put in like a store or something, then
it
I
would
think
feel
that's
extremely
fucked.
exploitative. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying though, is the flip side is that it seems completely unnecessary. It doesn't really bring anything to the table. Like, I don't feel like any of those elixirs. Like, they're one use only. I feel like taking an elixir that is a single use would actively rob you of, like, the free elixirs are multi-use. You can use them as many times as you like. So you'd be basically robbing yourself of one of those free elixirs
Yeah.
if you were to use your one use only elixir. And I just don't see that as a good idea. I did have the other one I had was spawn a fire sale
Yeah.
perk, but it turns out if you kill enough zombies, the crowd in 9 really begins to love you, and you are literally overwhelmed with fire sales. Fire sale power ups. They're just fucking non-stop.
Yeah. It took us a while to work that one out because we could see their hands like doing things. So if you're sort of doing what we were doing, which is at one point just kiting zombies to try and work out how to do the map, like we'd leave one zombie left and just fucking run around and look for things. They don't. The crowd does not like that, and I think that's an interesting mechanic of like it's forcing you to be engaging.
Keep acting, like keep your action up.
Yeah, because there was a point where you guys were downstairs doing stuff, and I was like, oh, I need to go upstairs and get my thing, and then I'm like, the fucking crowd is throwing shit at me, like. And I'm like popping like all this stuff like max ammo, fire sales, like they just kept doing it, and I'm like, oh, it's clearly wanting you to be up here, like this is where it wants you to fight. And I think that's really interesting as well because those mechanics or anything like that is not in Titanic, as far as I'm aware.
No, not at all.
So that's cool. The only other thing I do not like about it when we were playing is the lack of ammo in certain situations.
Oh my god!
Especially when you get to the point where these pack-a-punch sort of this mechanic where you go and you and it seems to be different between the two maps that we've played. You basically give your weapon to this pack-a-punch machine and it upgrades it to the next level. And there seems
the same.
Yeah, there's both the same, but there's different ways of doing it in.
Titanic,
different
ways
to activate it.
Yeah. So it's pretty annoying in the Titanic one.
It's like running from side to side and like
from like one end of the ship to the other. It's a bit
super easy in the other one. But what I was going to say is that there's 3 levels per weapon. You've got your first level, which is a standard gun. Second level, which gives it a bit more, it's like a laser gun all of a sudden. And the third level adds an elemental effect, and that seems to be the highest it can go. The issue with that is if you're using a weapon that you've gotten from a mystery box or from the challenges that are in the map, it's pretty much impossible to get ammo back. Because the way you get ammo back in the game is either you find a max ammo drop from one of the zombies, or you go back to the weapon that you found in the level and re-ammo yourself. So sometimes the weapons will be scattered around the map on the wall, and that's how you buy them normally with your points. And it might be like, all right, you trade in 2,000 points and you get your ammo back. Whereas if you've got one of these mystery guns or a gun from an achievement, you can't get your ammo back. So all of a sudden you're running around and it's like, I can't do anything until one of the zombies drops ammo and someone pops it. So there were a couple of games where we struggled quite a lot because we were all running around with melees. Nothing, for quite a while. Like we'd have games where like 6 ammo drops in a row and then nothing for fucking 5 levels.
Yeah. It does. It is rough. I don't think that's a fault of the game. I think it's trying to incentivize you to rely on the guns on the wall and use one of those and upgrade that as opposed to solely relying on the mystery box to give you some fucking perfect weapon.
So that's what I ended up doing was I would go and pick up a gun from a wall and then just level it up twice at the thing and then run back and all right, cool. But at the same time, I had that pistol, and that pistol was fucking amazing, and I didn't want to ditch it. Or like I'd have a
well, the alternative is the shield, man, the brazen bull.
Yeah.
Like you can re-up on that however many times you want. It gets more expensive every time you re-up, but like still, like like you could. I was at level 25. I was 3-slashing fucking gladiators and stuff, it's still fucking powerful.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's tough. It's a tough one to balance, I think. There's a shield on the fucking Titanic. Did you see Nate was saying?
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know, man. I feel like we're cheating a little bit by reading guides now. I feel a little bit robbed of the experience. I think now that we understand there are things in the world,
Right.
I feel like we should not read any more guides, and we should
Well, we could
figure it out
always
ourselves.
we could always do the two that we haven't touched yet, and have like and muddle our way through those
Like even
ones.
on 9, we've got the urn that we haven't done yet.
Yeah.
Like it spawns in the middle of the Colosseum. You pick
Yeah.
it up, and I think we're supposed to take it downstairs and capture souls or something. Like we haven't even touched that part yet. So yeah, I'd like to do more maps, but I don't want to. I don't feel like we should be reading guides anymore. I think it ruins the experience a little bit of the exploration
Okay.
or figuring it out. I feel like if we do like a week's worth of playing it and we're like, we don't know what the fuck we're doing, then we go and have a hint.
Okay. I'm down with that. Yeah, like
Because it makes it feel like a raid that way.
Yeah, I like working shit out. At the same time, there is always a point in a raid where I'm like, "Fuck this! Where's the YouTube video?"
Yeah, that's what I'm
Like,
saying.
yeah. So yeah, I'm down to muddle our way through, puzzle our way through to the end of, and see what we can work out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Because I was having that sort of fun with Titanic. Like,
Yeah.
going around like, oh shit, there's a thing, there's like underwater here, and there's a way to drain the water. Like, what does that do? And then
What about when I got the Kraken?
yeah,
You were in
no,
the
because
game.
my game crashed.
Oh right, yeah, it did too. I out of the mystery box, I got the Kraken. The Kraken is, I think, the special weapon that spawns on that level or something, and it's like 4 cannons, like sort of in a cross shape, and it rotates every time it fires a cannon, and the cannon explodes fucking everything. And yeah, it's good. It was a good one to get, because that game, I think we made it to like level 20, and I had 480 kills, and the next closest was something like 115.
Yeah, I think when I crashed, I was on top by like 120.
I was just like slaying with this Kraken. It just couldn't be stopped.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was good.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
fun.
fuck tons of fun.
It's really good.
Yeah, I really enjoy it, and like I think it does hinge a bit on having a crew that knows how to work together, and luckily we have managed to find that every single time.
Most-
Like everyone's been cool to play with. So yeah, like even when people are slacking a bit, I like remember when JB. Johnny Bravo was playing.
Oh, he was terrible that first
He
game.
died, yeah, like 40 times in the first round. And then the next game, he came
He
back
topped everybody.
and he topped everything. Yeah, he was like our MVP. It was, yeah, it was good. Like the ebb and flow of the game is good. Like it seemed like he just had didn't really, it didn't gel with him in that first game, and then it clicked, and suddenly he was fucking slaying. It helped, like we were trying to puzzle shit out, and he was sort of taking up the burden. And I think that's the good thing about it, is like it allows you to share the burden of the zombie slaying a little bit, while people are running around trying to work out what the next thing they're supposed to do is. But yeah, we found the pumps to pump the water out, and we found like the places the pack-a-punch and all that kind of shit, and like I actually don't remember where the pack-a-punch places are, which is terrifying. But hopefully we can work it out again. I vaguely remember the back of the ship.
In Titanic, I think it's just like sort of front and back of the ship, and I think it keeps rotating,
Right.
something like that. And there was like one downstairs in the boiler room,
Oh yeah,
or the engine room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That game seems to make you that particular level seems to force you to go from like different areas of the ship, whereas IX is kind of like a hub. Like you've got the central area, and then you can kind of pick where you want to go. It's
all circulates around it. Yeah, it's true.
Anyway,
Yeah,
should we talk about Blackout now?
Blackout.
Blackout is their battle royale mode. We talked a little bit about this during the beta. You played it on PlayStation 4. I played it on PC. and this is sort of the first time where we've had a chance to play together.
Yeah, yeah, because yeah, obviously we couldn't schedule it correctly. Yeah, so yeah, we managed to play it at the same time. I love it. I love it to bits. It is the perfect middle ground between the like great gunplay and first person action of PUBG with the pace of Fortnite, and none of the fucking building bullshit that I hate. Like it just
Except barricades.
so oh well, and I guess razor wire, but mostly barricades. Yeah, yeah, it feels like this amazing fucking balancing act, and they do it so well. If I like, I've obviously got some criticisms, but like for the most part, I have enjoyed every second I've played with it, and yeah, I'm thrilled. I'm fucking pumped that someone's managed to really capture the spirit of the battle royale genre. I can't like. I'm actually really excited now
Mm-hmm.
to see what Battlefield can do with it as well, because it makes me think that like it's not impossible for AAA studios to really fucking like gel with the idea. It's not like
Yeah.
I saw. I guess immediately my gut reaction was a AAA studio was going to like neuter it. That's definitely not what's happened at all. Blackout is a pretty pure battle royale experience. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, I feel like
What do you think?
the when I talked about the beta, it was one of those games that I played it, and we that first night I think it was like it came out at 2 in the morning or at 1 o'clock in the morning, and
Yeah,
played until like 6 o'clock,
yeah,
and then went to bed. And then for this particular launch, it was supposed to start at 3 o'clock. It went up a little bit early, sorry, 3 p.m. It went up at about 2:30, and we had a crew in there rolling straight away. Everything
yeah,
was popping, no issues at all.
yeah.
And then I logged off at 5:45 in the morning that day. I've not had a gaming session like that since probably, I think the last one would have been maybe Rainbow, or maybe before that would be PUBG.
Yeah,
They're the two games that I can remember in the last 6 years that I've really dug into,
yeah,
and just played like a big session of maybe like a Dota back in the day, but not a shooter, nothing
yeah.
like this. Yeah, man, I think it's awesome. It's really good. It's super polished. It runs extremely well.
Hmm.
The gameplay is awesome. Like you said, there are a couple of small issues, but I think they're working on that. Like my biggest criticisms of the beta was the armor and the way
Yeah.
that was done. They've toned back the armor quite a bit in this one.
It was
There,
harder to find level 3 stuff, right?
yeah, like the level 3, I've only found a couple.
Yeah,
And we've played, I think, maybe 16 to 20 hours, at least I've played.
yeah,
Um, yeah,
yeah.
and like that armor situation was the problem was that everybody would be level 3, the time to kill was so high. And
Hmm.
then that other issue of like when you engage somebody, you're shredding armor, so you lose armor, and then all of a sudden you're disadvantaged for the next fight because you're coming up against a squad that's got armor and you've got nothing. So there was no sort of incentive to sort of fight
Yep.
because you'd kill that person and you can't steal their armor because they're dead and
Yeah.
you've shredded it unless you got headshots on them. They
Yeah.
seem to have changed that a little bit now, whereas you're able to pick up armor from them.
Sometimes.
Sometimes it's working, sometimes it's still a bit flaky, but
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like I'm going into fights anymore. And I'm like, well, I'm fucked. I've got no armor. They've got level 3. Like level 3 seems to be pretty rare, and it seems to be like a winnable situation in most circumstances if you've got something on you.
Yeah.
But I still would like to see them change a little bit.
No armor versus level 3 armor is yeah, rough. Like proper rough. It's sort of undoable in my opinion. The amount like you just if you've got level 3 armor and someone with no armor starts to shoot you,
Yeah.
you can turn around and shred them
Yeah.
before they're finished because it requires like nearly a full clip, and that one sucks. That one really sucks because if someone lands on level 3 armor, they are really, really strongly positioned
Yeah.
after that. I almost feel like level 3 armor shouldn't exist in the game world. Like, it should only be in crates.
Yeah.
I don't mind if it's in zombie crates and stuff. I don't mind if it's a guarantee in a crate. I just feel like having it as something that someone can land on immediately really, really ramps up the RNG factor.
Sure, maybe they changed that. PUBG did the same thing, right? You could find level 3 on the
Absolutely.
ground. Now they're
Yeah.
only available in crates.
Yeah, I think they should do it.
Or is that how it still works? Or is it just level 3 helmets?
Maybe just helmets.
I think it's... they keep changing. But yeah, I think it's possible. Maybe just chuck them in crates. You do find them in crates. I found most of mine in crates as opposed to just lying on the floor. Because I was super surprised. We
I had
played
2 games in a row where I landed on level 3 armor.
Yeah,
and
okay.
You feel like you're like invincible.
RNG god, yeah.
Go get fucking brawler,
Just
that
punch
stupid
everybody.
fucking pork, and just punch. Yeah, punch cunts. Fuck it. Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to see them do something with maybe armor shards, or I don't know, like have a way of being able to pick up armor. I don't
Use
know.
that armor plating, right? The armor plating that they use for the mission,
For the mission, yeah.
the specialist mission. Use that to repair armor. Do that. Fucking why not?
Or not
Like,
even repair it. 25% armor or increase or something like that if it's damaged.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like just you put it. You've got like armor that's at 10%, and you chuck one of these armor plates on, and it is a bit better.
Yeah.
Like that's such a fucking easy win for them, and it'd be such a really good way to encourage you to get into more fights. I do agree with you that you're like not particularly disincentivized to get into fights at the moment. I think you are actively encouraged to get into fights the way the game plays out at the moment. But yeah, it would be. I have had a couple of games where I had the disheartening realization that I'm going into the final fight with 0 armor up against like 3 other people who probably have it, and you're like, this is like my path to victory here is tightrope thing.
Yeah. If I didn't fight those other 6 people, then I'd probably be okay. And I think that's where we start looking at things like esports and then like you have that thing in PUBG where nobody fucking shoots each other because and that's not an armor issue, that's just a points issue. Because it's not worth fighting people in PUBG because placement points is so high. So nobody does it until the last 6 minutes. Like they try to avoid it generally. So I think by having a better armor system in Call of Duty, that means that you're incentivized to take fights. And I'd like to see that. I mean, we're playing generally pretty aggro in most of our games. There are occasions where we'll stop and be like, all right, let's just set up here, let's see what the circle does. But otherwise, try and move quite a lot. Which is a lot more fun.
Actually, the circle's another thing that I think they need to do something about. It's another area where PUBG has made a change, like patched it in, and it was a really positive change. There's a lot that they can, I think, learn from PUBG in particular. And I think they have the capacity to make those changes in a really positive way and a real like timely fashion as well. But the one I'm thinking is the centralized randomization of the circle. Because if you remember way back in the day of PUBG, the circle was truly random and you'd have it land wherever the fuck. I have had a number of final circles because like we are top 5 essentially every game except when we die first is what I've noticed. Like,
someone.
Either we fucking die immediately or we are top 5. And I've had a number of fucking final circles that when half the circle is outside of the map, like outside of the play zone. The play zone, like it comes up with the battlefield styles warning you are leaving the battlefield. Game area type thing. And that's half the fucking circle. It is crazy. That should not happen at all. It should be specifically restricted away from ever doing that. Like it doesn't finish in like outside, but it does like so not the final circle, but the second to final circle. Most of it's not even in, so you already know where the fuck people aren't.
Yeah.
And that means you know where they are, and yeah,
And you can't
think
tell easily on that map, especially on like the east to south side. That corner,
Yeah.
it just looks like it's part of the map until you get there.
yeah, until you step outside, and then you're like, yeah. So they need to do something about that 100%. But the other thing they could do is really like do something about not having it like truly fully random. Like skew it towards the center more often, because we had a bunch of games in a row where we were landing and we had to sprint the entire fucking game. It was the classic PUBG. I'm just gonna have to run this game. And then once we did manage to get into the circle, having expended half our fucking medical supplies, we would get in and the circle will have shifted to the direct opposite, like the diagonal opposite of where the fuck we are again. And so once again, we have to sprint all the way through to the next thing. And it doesn't, I don't think, I said this in, and I wrote a tips article for Red Bull to give people, you know, some advice on how to get better. And I was writing that in PUBG, you see a lot of the pros take centralized compounds, and they will try to hold them until like they need to engage. And I still believe that in PUBG, going for the compound play is a strong one.
Yeah.
But I think in Call of Duty, you do not want to go central. You want to stick to the fucking outskirts where you can, and you want to move in with the circle where possible. That is, I would say, 90% of my victories have come from that play. Because of the way Call of Duty treats the attacker's advantage. All of the advantage is on the side of the attacker, I think. I think the only fucking win I have, the only number one I have where it wasn't played from the outside in was the one you did, where you had that house and murdered those fucking idiots. That was spectacular. But that is an outlier. That's not how that one's supposed to play out. That's Luke play. That's John Wick shit. Like, that's not how that one rolls every time. If you want a solid core strategy, you would play it from the outside in. You just sort of got circle gifted a little bit with that house, and you also were kind of out of options in terms of other things that you could do. I rewatched that video because I put a clip of it in my tips video. You eat all of a grenade at one point, and you're down to 6 health.
Yeah, like 5 or 6 health. Yeah.
Holy shit, that was crazy, and it was a cluster as well.
Yeah, there was
another one came and landed where you were standing.
Yeah, it landed on the roof.
You'd already run in stand. Oh my god, it was awesome.
But yeah, no, I agree. There's a lot of situations where we've been inside of a house and we have just gotten fucking destroyed, mainly because of things like cluster grenades and 9-bangs and like these small openings in windows where people know where you are, and you just get smashed, especially with the equipment. And I feel like being outside of those houses are usually, a lot better. Like, having that hard cover is good. But we played that one map, and I think you were in it, where we're in a supermarket, and we were just camping there for a little while. And we heard this noise, like a deployable thing. We're like, what the fuck is that sound? And then I shot off a sensor like off in the distance, and we, like, these dudes just come running in, and they fucking murdered all of us in like 5 seconds. And
they bang and cleared that shit like they were playing fucking Rainbow Six. Like, fucking 2 of them came through one window, another one through the door. There's fucking 9-bangs and concussion grenades, and we're like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, we're like, how did they know we're in here? We're all sitting around. And it turns out because they threw they must have just been scouting. They just threw a sensor on the wall, and they knew we were all in there, and they just destroyed us.
It wrecked us. That was a rough one. Yeah,
But
that
stuff like
was
that is cool.
yeah. Yeah, no, it is. But yeah, that advantage is 100% with the attacker, and also I guess in a small way the netcode also gives the advantage to the attacker because they have Pika's advantage in general.
Hmm.
And so if they're dictating the pace of the engagement, then they can actually make use of Pika's advantage. If they dictate the pace of the engagement by trying to snipe you from fucking ages away, then they deserve what they're about to get because you've got hard cover. So Pika's advantage switches to you. But yeah, generally, I like that's another problem. I think is I've noticed a lot of the people we play with are fucking gung ho on shooting before they get into a decent position.
Sure,
Uh,
yeah. Because it's so
like
easy to heal. Also,
yeah,
well, it's generally quick to heal. You
it's
need to kill
like
them.
your time to kill is fucking huge compared to PUBG. Like I understand doing it in PUBG because you could put them down in a couple of shots, but in this, yeah, a couple of shots isn't going to fucking take it. You need like half a clip, and if you can't put all half a clip on someone in 100 like at 100 meters range, then there's no point in taking a shot. If you got the paladin or paladin, whatever, whichever way I'm supposed to say it, I
I think
can't
it's
remember. You guys
paladin.
give me shit.
I don't know. I've not used it.
It's a 50 cal sniper rifle.
Sure. That thing
It
just
destroys.
fucks.
It
Yeah.
wrecks. Yeah, it fucks. Yeah, if you've got that, fucking shoot all you like. If you got the fucking what's that? The SDM, the semi-auto fucking sniper rifle.
Yeah.
Yeah, do it. Like fucking hell yeah. But if you're rocking an ICR and you're 150 meters away from someone, just don't shoot. Just don't. There's nothing. There's nothing to be gained. Like all you're doing is setting yourself up to then have to like chase them, and you put them at the advantage. They then get to dictate that engagement. Once they're in cover and they're healed up, suddenly they're at full health, and you're the one on the move.
Yeah. You're still trying to
Rough.
do that chip damage to try and get rid of their armor. That's like the main thing you're trying to do
That
at
is,
that stage.
yeah,
Because they
yeah,
can just keep on healing. They could have 30 bandages on them or like
yeah,
3 trauma kits, something like that. And,
yeah,
back up to 200 health in 5 seconds. It's not like
yeah,
I've seen some complaints about the healing. I enjoy it. I think it's really cool being able to heal on the run, but also
yeah.
using bandages. It's not like you're not healing a lot. It's like 20. Is it 25? In
Yeah,
order to get
25,
back up
yeah.
to full health, it's a good like
That's
15
8, isn't it?
seconds or something. 10
6,
seconds.
10.
Yeah, and if
10
you're getting
bang.
shot at the same time, it can be a bit difficult to survive, but it is possible.
Yeah, yeah,
Like you've got to pick one. Do I heal or do I shoot back at them?
yeah,
So I don't know. I like it. I think it's one of those things where it's not like PUBG where you can you shoot someone and you're like they're hit, go after them,
yeah,
and like you've got to push. Or if someone goes down, like you push, because in Call of Duty, if you're doing a lot of damage on someone, I still think you should push. But at the same time, if you knock someone, it's to revive them is like 3 seconds. They
yeah,
may not have their heals back up, but in PUBG, you've got about 20 seconds. If you knock someone, they get revived, and for
yeah,
them to be back at full health is about 20 seconds. In Call of Duty, it could be 6 seconds. Like you revive someone, they pop a trauma kit, they're back in it. If they don't have
yeah,
a trauma kit, then it's fucked. So I think it's essential sometimes to push as soon as possible if you've got the advantage. Otherwise,
yeah,
you're giving them time to recover.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so yeah.
100%. What else is there?
Well, we've had some good games. I feel like
That's some awesome games.
yeah, I feel like everywhere except for estates is good to drop. Even in
Yeah,
the beta, I just didn't like
I put that in my
estates.
tips. In my
Yeah.
tips, my last tip is why are you dropping at a state? Just don't drop at a state.
I
Yeah,
just feel like there's not enough loot there or something. There's not a lot of cover. It's
yeah,
quite small.
yeah.
Um, yeah, there's a lot going on. I'm just not a fan of it. I like construction. I think that's a fucking awesome area to drop.
I
Just because there's
love
so many
construction.
levels and
Yeah,
the audio isn't the best in
yeah.
that game.
Actually, that's probably the biggest complaint I have.
It's still like better than what it was in the beta. I
Right.
think. I usually don't have an issue sort of judging where people. Sometimes I'm like, oh, and I can tell you the story when I was playing with Champ.
Yeah.
But we dropped at Nuketown, and I was running around past Champ, and there was a house next to him. I opened the door, and there's this fucking dude just standing there, like right in front of me with a shotgun. I shit myself, and I whiffed the first shot. I hit the second time. He doesn't go down, and then he kills me. And then Champ comes in, and they're doing like laps, shooting each other. But actually, to start off with, he went into that room, and it sounded like he was off in the distance, like you could hear him moving around. And I'm like,
Right.
oh, he's somewhere else. But as it turned out, he was crouch walking like right outside the window, and it was just that low, the sound that I thought he was off in the distance.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so these two guys were sort of like crouch walking around this house, and I think that the way the sound works, if you're crouch walking, it's fucking almost impossible to hear somebody. Whereas if you're running, it's super loud.
Yeah.
And so going back to construction, it can be a bit difficult to sort of gather what floor they're on. It seems like sometimes it can be hard to gauge whether they're right below you or they're 3 levels down.
Yeah.
So that's something I think they can work
Distance is the big problem. Like the amount of times we've dropped at Array, which is probably my favorite place to drop outside of construction. The amount of times we dropped at Array and it sounded like there was a fucking gunfight just down the bottom or halfway up the hill, and it turns out it's dudes shooting zombies all the way down the bottom of the fucking mountain.
Yeah.
Like the amount of times that's happened, like I've acclimatized the concept now. I no longer believe that people are just about to spring up shooting everything in sight. But yeah, the amount of times I've been like, fuck this gunfight, it's so fucking close. And it turns out it's like at least 300 meters away. And you're like, oh, okay, never mind. Don't worry about it. Yeah, distance is the main problem with the sound. I had a really good game at construction, actually, where me and I think it was Kleb and I believe it was Squirrel. Yeah, so Squirrel died fucking really early, and we just got circle blessed the entire time. And so we basically hid the entire game out down at construction.
Yeah.
And just waited it out, and we did sweet fuck all game, like just fucking watching in every single direction. That was actually just after another one where I wingsuited off the top of the building, landed, shotgunned a dude, landed behind him and shotgunned him. And as I shot, Kleb shot him in the head and stole my kill away from me. And then another dude, his friend, who I thought there was only one guy down the bottom. But as soon as he got into the down state, I'm like, oh, fuck! And then I started getting shot by his friend. So I slid over into cover, but as I slid, I got downed. And then Squirrel ran off the ledge. And if you don't jump off a ledge, you can't wingsuit. That's 100% confirmed. If you just run off a ledge, you will not wingsuit when you hold space. So he cratered when he got to the bottom. So that was 2 of us downed. And then Kleb basically whiffed every single shot he took. He just potatoed. It was
classic.
It was a rough one. I was pretty salty. But I did get some good amusing footage out of it. So yeah. So there was that. Array's awesome. What else? Newtown is a waste of fucking time. I feel like nothing good happens at Newtown. Then going around the map, what is it? Factory and Lighthouse.
Yeah, Factory.
No, Cargo, right?
Yeah.
Or you get to Lighthouse. Cargo is a waste as well. It's too open trying to loot on top of the cargo, the containers. And looting on the ship there's not enough loot to share. So that's not good for a squad. Lighthouse is utterly pointless. There's nowhere near enough loot for that one. Then you get to Factory. Factory's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's usually like pretty wide open. You get some good fights in that area. Then there is fracking station,
Hmm.
which is just north of factory. That's pretty good. I like the fights in that area.
Yep.
I feel like we have some really good fights. There's a lot of like sneaky visual cover and not actual cover. Like you can see underneath those buildings and stuff like that. So you can actually take some shots of people while they think they're in cover and stuff, which is cool.
Hmm.
And you can get to some pretty high locations and snipe from up there. I did some really good sniping and call outs on fracking. Uh, Farms can go fuck themselves. What a nightmare! Holy shit! I always despair whenever we find ourselves in fucking farms
Yeah.
because you're like, it's just not gonna. It's gonna be really bad. This is gonna be such a bad time,
Yeah,
and
it's
it
pretty
always
open.
is. Then you get up to a state. We talked about a state. Then we go to Hydro Dam.
It's all right.
I love Hydro Dam. I reckon that's a really cool place to duke it out as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, like two separate dams. You can go over the top of the roof, or you can go down the bottom to get to the other dam. Sorry, other dam station rather. And yeah, there's heaps of loot. You usually get out if you can do both buildings. You'll get out with some good stuff.
Hmm.
Then south there
Train station.
is train station. Yeah, train station is.
It's interesting,
Meh.
fun. It can be pretty hectic.
That's a hot drop location for sure. I feel like we'd never walk out of train station. If we land at train station, we never walk out
With a
a
full team.
squad. Yeah.
Yeah. Firing
We'll always
range.
lose one. Yeah, firing
I haven't
range.
landed there yet.
No, I've started there in like the pre-game lobby a bunch,
Yeah.
but never landed there.
There's a lot of cover. Heaps of cover.
Yeah. Um, and usually there seems to be a lot of guns because I've come in there a couple of times like late, and there's still a lot of shit.
Yeah.
It's clearly been looted, and there's still a lot of shit. Then what? Asylum?
Rivertown? Oh, okay.
Rivertown, Asylum. There's
That's just if you want to do the zombie.
two zombie spawns real close. The zombie crates. I actually like that as a concept, but it's a terrible fucking plan if you're doing them later than immediately. If you're going in and you're trying to do like zombie crates after the first fucking 60 seconds of a round,
Yeah.
you are making a huge fucking mistake. You're just begging to be fucking murdered. And also, I think zombie crates would have to be turned off for competitive. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the zombies drop stuff like gear, and I just don't think. I think that's a bit.
I
Random.
I'd like to see a bit more random.
Bit more random.
Those areas, yeah. Well, there's
Right,
not many
yeah.
of them. There's only a small handful.
5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Lighthouse, Rivertown, two at Asylum, and one just
Between
west of
construction.
Array.
Yeah, an array.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Rivertown. I don't like Rivertown Main, but I like like the southern part of Rivertown where the zombie spawn is.
Yeah.
I like that area. Yeah, Rivertown Main is just a shit show. I think those like too many of those storage units, and they make so much noise when you open the doors, and I feel like it's just like begging. It's like a giant fucking alarm bell telling people to come murder you. Then what do we got? What's the fucking all the way? What's the hangars? What's that one called?
Oh man,
Forgotten.
of blanks, and we drove there a lot.
We do. Yeah. Anyway, two giant hangars.
I'm gonna look quickly.
Yeah, it's that's a good place to start, but with the propensity for the circle to be literally anywhere but where you are, there is sort of you can find yourself running a lot out of there, like having to run quite a fucking way when you get out of there. Did you work it out yet, or what?
I'm
No.
about to open it.
Right.
It's-
Yeah,
It's called Turbine.
Turbine. Yeah, Turbine. And like near Turbine is all the actual turbines as well.
Yeah, that's a cool area to have like a final fight. It's very hilly.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's super hilly. Those big wind generating, like power generating wind mills
Yep.
are all over the place. They like make a sort of a bit of like noise at all times as well, so that's good. And yeah, like I'm a huge fan of final fights in those hills.
I would like there to be more loot around that area.
That'd be maybe some shacks or
Yeah,
something.
shacks or something.
You just need like a. I mean, if they were to do our using armor plates to fix up your armor thing, like they could, like it'd be a good fucking middle ground, I guess. You wouldn't, but yeah, some shacks so you could replenish your armor, or at least have a shot at replenishing your armor. Ammo would be fucking tops. Because yeah, you did wind up feeling fucking boned.
Sure.
Yeah. 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 Anyway, yeah, I really enjoy like a lot of places on the map. There are a couple of no-go areas, but yeah, you just like it's a good map. It's a really well thought out map. It's not. I think it could be bigger. Ultimately, I could go for somewhere a little bit bigger, but
they're going for that fast style of like the games aren't long at all. They're pretty short.
It just feels like, except in extremely dire circumstances, there's no reason for helicopters to really exist. They're sort of just noob bait. And
I think they're there to like, shit, I'm outside the circle. I need to get in. And they're an easy way to get in. You just fly up really fucking high. It doesn't take long for them at all to get into the circle. And then once you're in, just either land or jump out. It's a quick way of getting in. I think that's what I think vehicles primarily are there to just get into locations really quickly. And they're not like PUBG where it's like, I take this car and I fucking drive everywhere because I don't know.
True.
The meta scene's a little bit different.
Yeah,
because that was one of the things I was worried about in the game, where it was like, oh man, it's got choppers, and that's the thing I'm worried about with Battlefield. Like, there's gonna be tanks. Like, oh, I don't have to deal with fucking tanks. Whereas in this, it's like you lock onto a helicopter with the RPG. It's so satisfying when it blows up and you see like 4 kills on the screen. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah. Man, it's really good. Like, I feel like I've seen a lot of the Australian pros from PUBG playing.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing I'm really curious about is whether or not they transition. Because, PUBG is still having issues down here. And whether or not they decide to go elsewhere. Now that because it seems like a lot of them are enjoying it.
Yeah.
I understand they're very different games. Like PUBG is pretty hardcore still in terms of its gunplay.
Yeah.
Like I've seen a lot of people say, like, oh, there's no recoil in this game. It's like, well, it depends on what gun you're using. There is
and how far you're engaging from.
Yeah, like there is bullet drop and there's bullet penetration. There is like a whole thing about like how far are you from somebody depending on how much damage they'll do. It's not like PUBG where you pull an AK out and the fucking gun goes everywhere. Like there's still recoil to a certain extent, and if you're using a sniper rifle, it's definitely there. It still takes skill. Like it's not a laser gun, all these weapons. So I just think it's a huge faster paced game, and that's a good thing. I think people are definitely enjoying that a lot more.
I am extremely excited to see it in a competitive, see competitive players take it on, because I want to see if it's a better viewing experience. My gut says it will be.
I think
my gut says it will be a much more exciting. Like, how long does the game take? Like 20 minutes,
15, 18, 20 minutes.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think my longest game is 18 minutes. I'd say 20 minutes is probably the cap time. And that's because I didn't time the one game I had where it went all the way to the final circle closing.
Yeah.
I was on the dam. Were you in that game?
Yeah. We had the guys above us. There was 3 teams left, and we were like, where the fuck is everybody? Like, we know there's a team above us, but where's the 3rd team? And I think they were below us, because we were like, we were on the middle level, and there's like a bit above you, and we had guys shooting at us, and I think somebody spectated the game afterwards, and the other guys were in the water or below us or something like that.
Yeah, they were below us. Yeah, I was spectating. It was I don't know.
They had high ground advantage, right? Because they could see us, and then one dude, he glide suited down to our level and just murdered all of us.
He did really well.
While we were flashed.
Yeah, well, yeah. Oh my god, yeah, that was rough. Yeah, but yeah. So I think that might have taken 20 minutes, but I didn't time it out to the end because I died. So yeah, it's good. Like it's just generally, I think it'll be a really good viewing experience. I'm really interested to see how it'll go. I've been enjoying watching Critical Motion, who plays for the Chiefs.
Mm.
He's been spending some time in it, and he does like he's like well known for pulling off like some highlight reel garbage bullshit in PUBG as well. But yeah, he's been pulling it out in COD.
Sorry's
And
tomahawk kill.
holy fuck, how good was it? It was spectacular. Yeah, it's just good. I love that game.
Yeah, we were playing. I think after you went to dinner, and I was playing with Champ Chong and a couple other YouTubers, and we landed at Estates, and we had like Edge from the Chiefs land there, and Cryptic from SYF.
Yeah.
He dropped there. I'm like, well, we're fucked because I saw the names in the kill feed, and I'm like, oh shit, the Chiefs have dropped with us. Yeah, we got fucking murdered. So yeah, like I've been playing, and I'm definitely seeing names popping up from the local PUBG scene that are in there playing.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, it's going to be interesting the next couple of weeks to see sort of what happens and yeah, and how sort of teams evolve and whether or not they decide to transition, especially if Activision really puts a big focus into esports locally here, because there isn't a big focus in PUBG locally, at least. Same with
we're going
Fortnite.
to throw down
Yeah.
the Predator series, which just wrapped up. Team Immunity won that. Did you see? Our boy Nutshot.
Yeah.
So they're going to the Predator League overseas, which is pretty slick.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Fortnite. Well, Fortnite's doing a bit better, I think. Well, it's just
They've definitely got a presence here.
Yeah, Epic's been working to like. They're still working on
Content
celebrity
creators,
esports. Yeah, which
it's not esports.
hard pass.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I mean, it's doing really well. I've been watching some streams online. A
Yeah.
lot of people seem to be enjoying it, which is cool. It's fun. I think it's really good. I'm seeing a lot of hate from certain circles.
Really?
Yeah, particularly like the Reddit PUBG thread are not impressed.
All right.
They're still harping on about how. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just interested to see what happens and how it evolves, because I think it's an awesome game. The way the Treyarch has been communicating the last week, like daily updates on Reddit, talking to the community. Here's what we're working on. Here's today's patch. Here's what we fixed. Here's stuff we haven't fixed but we know about. Here's what's coming in updates. What do you think about this? Like, the communication from them has been spot on.
My question is, right, does this, like, if it has legs, if it remains popular for a long time, because Call of Duty has pretty regularly abandoned for the next game in the cycle, right?
Sure.
I don't imagine that they will do that with this one. Like, I imagine that they will stick with it. Does this like allow them to divorce themselves from their annual cycle? Does this allow them to get out and switch to like being able to like keep Blackout updated for a year, not have a Call of Duty release next year, and instead like release some new content for Blackout, monetize that effectively, and then perhaps they can get away from having to fucking churn out Ghosts 2 or Infinite Warfare 2 or whatever fucking garbage they're working on.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think we're still going to see annualized Call of Duty. What I would like to see them do is, if Blackout was a separate game, a separate $20 PUBG competitor, or even free. If this game was free, it'd be it would blow up like all over the place. I still think it's pretty, like, they announced sales figures for Blackout, right? And they were saying it's the
Black Ops 4.
Yeah, sorry, for Black Ops.
Yeah,
They're saying it's like their biggest game.
Yeah.
And imagine what that would be like if it was a free-to-play game and you were just buying cosmetic items, like the whole Fortnite concept. From what I'm hearing, I don't know if it was you talking about it, like there's a season pass coming, or it might have been someone else I was playing with, was
Nate,
saying like there's a season pass coming where it's the Fortnite concept. Like you're playing, you're unlocking levels, and you're getting gear from it. PUBG's got the same thing, but they're doing this weird rental system where you level up and it's like you get this hat for fucking 10 days, and it's like a shit beanie. It's crap. Whereas if they go free to play with Blackout, I think it could be huge. At the same time, I don't know what they do next year. Like, if they release their next game and it's like, all right, we've got no multiplayer again, but here's our zombies mode that's not from Treyarch, because they seem to be throwing zombies in there every year now. And then they're like, here's Blackout 2. Are we going to have to buy a new Blackout game every year and it's got new maps? I would rather them go, all right, we're taking Blackout out of it. It's a separate game. It's either $20 or it's the Call of Duty Starter Edition. Do what Rainbow did. And you pay $20 or it's free and you get all this stuff in it. And then that's the game we update. And that's what you get. And we're focusing on this for the next 8-10 years. And there you go. That'd be a way better way of doing that game.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good point. Although that does sort of, I don't know. It doesn't make it would kill the other Call of Duty games, I think.
Yeah, that's that point, right? Is they could just keep pumping this out every year. Like, here's our new Blackout mode, and then they make a shitload of money, or they can go free to play and make a shitload of money selling cosmetics. It's like, where do you go from there?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where they go with him.
Yeah. Either way, I think it's the best Call of Duty game in maybe a decade.
Yeah. Like when did maybe Modern Warfare 2?
Yeah, how long ago was that?
I think it's better than Modern Warfare 2, to be honest.
I think it's
COD 4. I reckon it's the best since COD 4. I'll be honest.
Sure.
Yeah, like fucking awesome, really good. Yeah, cool. We're hammering it. Jump in the Gap channel. We've had a couple of crews going at the same time. I would love to get even more going at the same time. Yeah. It's like, let's do it. Let's play some quads or squads.
Quads is a terrible name.
It is a terrible name.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm excited to see like how that evolves and what sort of comes out of it.
Yeah.
The next couple of weeks at least. Yeah, because I think they're doing an awesome job at the moment. It's good. It's really good. All right.
Yep.
Should we do some news then? Or is there anything else you want to talk about for Call of Duty?
No, it's the news.
Whoa, I just got really bright. Did you want to do the news? Because
sure,
it's on a different screen for me.
Let's do it. All right, first up, Blizzard released a bit of a statement on Diablo3.com today, and it was very cagey about how good things come to those that wait, and evil things take longer than good things, or something like that. Blah blah blah. Yeah. The overarching theme was there's not going to be Diablo 4 at BlizzCon.
Yeah.
As far as I can tell, they didn't outright say it, but they were saying that thing you're expecting, it's not going to be there. So unless this is some sort of fucking like psych out, yeah, it seems like there's not going to be a Diablo 4 at BlizzCon, and that seems like that seems bananas to me.
Yeah,
like I don't know what the fuck they're going to announce then, and it's going to be a second BlizzCon in a row where they don't announce anything huge, which is a bit of a surprise. I mean, I guess Hearthstone will have some stuff. Like they'll announce their next year of content, I guess. But like we'll see more Overwatch, and we'll see more of everything they do. But yeah, we won't see something new, and I think that's staggering. Because I think Blizzard's in a interesting place at the moment. I don't think, I think Battle for Azeroth hasn't garnered them a lot of goodwill, and I think that Overwatch is in a holding pattern, and Hearthstone is also in a holding pattern. Firing out thunder. Yeah, and we haven't seen a new StarCraft. We haven't seen the Jesus.
Is that you?
That's thunder outside.
Fucking
Holy
hell.
shit. Um, yeah, like Heroes of Storm is dying,
Yeah, it's dead.
and yeah, like I don't know. Diablo 3 is coming out on Switch. I am moderately excited for that. I think I can like there are a couple of characters that I never really played. Like I never really experienced the Necromancer, so I'm excited to see what that's like. But like that's still that's not new, you know.
Yeah.
StarCraft 2 is not new. It's at this stage, people are figuring we'll see Diablo 2 remastered, and like
I don't think that's enough.
that's it. And yeah, I don't think
That's
it
like a
is.
mini
Also,
announcement.
and I don't see how Diablo 2. I still don't see how Diablo 2 remastered is going to fucking work. Also, I believe we're supposed to see Warcraft 3 remastered before we see Diablo 2 remastered. So it's a bit of a surprising one. Like, there's a chance we don't get anything for Diablo. I think I read somewhere on Twitter something about like a fucking Diablo Netflix show or something. I don't know. It
Yeah,
just
yeah,
doesn't.
that was a while back. They announced that, right?
It doesn't seem like there's much. It doesn't like this. This it just seems underwhelming for a BlizzCon, and last year wasn't huge either. You know, they need something, and I just don't think. Yeah, at this stage, I reckon the most played game on Battle.net might be fucking Call of Duty Black Ops 4.
Yep.
That's crazy. That is bananas.
The other thing is like the DLC Reaper's Souls that came out. I'm just looking now 4 years ago, and that ended in a cliffhanger. So like,
Right. When did Necromancer come out?
um, 2017, a year ago, June 27th,
Yeah,
2017.
right. Yeah,
But
that
that was
was
just a character, like a character pack.
yeah,
Wasn't like new story
yeah,
or
true.
anything like that. It was an expansion. So, yeah, man, I'm pretty surprised by this announcement. Because everything we've been hearing was there was something happened with Diablo,
Yeah,
and then there was that panel that's on directly after the fucking keynote.
right.
So yeah, they could be just trying to stomp out some rumors. I don't know.
Yeah,
But at the same time, if they don't announce anything, man, yeah, that's pretty disappointing. Or maybe they had something planned and they've changed their ideas. I don't know. I still feel like they need to announce something because yeah, it sounds like there's not a lot going on over there, and
yeah,
it'll be good. I just want to hear about
yeah.
more Diablo.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
I just want Diablo 4.
yeah.
Fucking. I didn't know if you wanted to talk about this one, but so over the last week, it's been revealed through some I don't know some less than diplomatic wording that to finish Red Dead Redemption 2, developers were doing 100-hour weeks,
Mm-hmm.
which is a staggering amount of time. That is a bananas amount of time. That's like how many hours is there in a week? 160
I'm no maths man. All right, what are you
something or
doing?
something. And you spend like it doesn't like outside of sleeping, that's basically just working. Like
168. Yeah.
yeah, like you're just working nonstop essentially, and it's not a healthy work life balance, I guess.
Sure.
So people have been getting upset about it. I didn't know if you wanted to talk about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a tough one. I wrote a tweet where I'm like, it's I would just walk away if they asked me to do a 100-hour week. So just like leave. It's super easy. And also at the same time, oh yeah, so please let me review this 60-hour game in 3 days for like less money than
$400
you'd make at McDonald's. Yeah.
if you're lucky.
Yeah. Yeah, like it seems hypocritical of game journalists to rail against Rockstar while simultaneously being like letting themselves get exploited to fucking back
Sure.
by publishers like who pay them minimum wage and expect them to review in their own time and stuff like that, even though it's technically work. And I've always sort of pushed back against that kind of thing. I used to sit at my desk at Telstra and play games, and the big bosses would walk past and they get upset and they'd be like, you know, are you just playing games today, are you, Joab? And I'd be like, yeah, it's my job. And it wasn't. It was. I was never very good at the office politics bullshit. So it was never the most diplomatic thing. And my bosses plural, would have to go to bat for me in every single one. I like consistently. I always outdid my KPIs, and I always got like glowing fucking reviews at peer review time. But yeah, it would be because my bosses went to bat to explain that I was doing my job the whole time. I wasn't just sitting there playing games. I wasn't sitting there playing fucking Peggle or whatever. Like that's actually my job, and like my job is to play Halo. And I think like we're so ingrained with this idea that video games are a leisure pursuit, that video game journalists very easily allow themselves to get exploited. And it's even easier to get allow yourself to be exploited when you're a freelancer, because your time, like, you make your own fucking hours. Like,
Sure.
we could do a fucking 3 hour long, or 2.5 hour probably at this rate, 2.5 hour long podcast, like in the middle of the day, because we set our own hours, we set our own schedule, we can like manage this stuff ourselves. And as a result, it's super easy to then manage yourself into a position where you're overworking yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So with that in mind, yeah, I do
Yep.
find it extremely hypocritical. But at the same time, when I think about why I do that, why I would take on reviewing Doom in a weekend, or reviewing Call of Duty the weekend at PAX, or reviewing some massive game, it's because it's doing what I love, and I believe in that work.
Sure.
So I think smashing Rockstar employees, like smashing into Rockstar for exploiting Rockstar employees, while at the same time they absolutely are. There's no question in my mind that there is exploitation, but the concept of exploitation isn't inherently evil. I think that exploiting someone's desires to do something isn't inherently a bad thing if what they feel they get out of it is worth it. I was reading some stuff from people who were generally shouted down, but who I find definitely know what they're talking about. Developers with a long history in games. I was reading some stuff from them, and they were saying that they like fully expect that like a lot of people are like that is basically the stock standard for video gaming, like that.
Like, not 100 hours a week though. I think they're talking more like 50 to 60 hours sometimes.
But these 100-hour weeks, it wasn't like they were doing it like constantly. Like it was just the end game.
Right.
Who am I speaking? Morgan Jaffet from Defiance is who I'm thinking of. He was saying that they're getting paid, like, it's not like they're making minimum wage doing 100 hours. They're making like 100K plus a year, plus benefits, etc., etc., etc. Like, they're exploiting their time, and they are establishing a bad work-life balance. But yeah, like,
They're
at the end of the day, the people who are doing it want to do it. And like, there's so many fucking layers to this, and like the entire discussion about it is so fucking difficult to have. I mean, at the same time, the people who are doing 100-hour weeks in the first place are setting up their co-workers to fail in a way, in the same way that I was setting myself up to fail, and setting my bosses up to have to defend me. The people doing 100-hour weeks are setting their co-workers up to look terrible. Every single time anyone did all their work outside of their own, like, in their own time, that's making everyone who doesn't do that look bad. And that isn't on Rockstar. Like perhaps they've created a culture that encourages it, but it's the people who are doing that in the first place who are working 100-hour weeks, and in some cases that might be the houses or whatever the fuck. But like in other cases, it's just people who are super passionate, who don't really need, like, whose work-life balance skews towards work because their main way of socializing is through work. You know?
Yeah.
That thunder is out of control. What
Can
the
you
fuck?
hear it on my end?
Oh, was that what I was hearing? Holy
I don't know.
shit.
I can hear it coming from your end, and then like
Yeah.
5 seconds later, it's coming from this side as well.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
I know what you mean. I feel like when I saw this, I immediately went to, this has been taken a little bit out of context.
Yeah.
I know that he said these things, Dan Houser said these things, but it seemed like clickbait the moment I started seeing a bunch of this stuff. And I was like, we need to wait and see what comes out of this. There is no way there is fucking people, like thousands of people working on this game that have been working 100 hours a week, and this is the first we've heard about it. Like, it's just not, that's not the way it works. Anyway, so then they clarified it, and Dan Houser came out, who does not, like, the houses don't talk to media. They and when they do, it's usually extremely rare. And I feel like they're not going to do that for a while now because of the fucking blow up this has had. He was specifically talking about himself, the co-founder of his company that he's created. Him and his team of writers, his small team of writers, which consists of, I think it was 4 people. We're doing this 100-hour, and again, could have been exaggerating that number, 100 hours. The same way when we say we did a 6-hour podcast, and we every week, we don't, but we do 3. I'm not saying that he was exaggerating. It's hard to say, but that's the way I took it. He was exaggerating a little bit. And it was also 3 weeks out of 7 years. And I'm not saying that's a good thing. Like, oh, that's fine. But people were like I saw the usual crowd that were going on about how they're like making all of their staff do this throughout the entire year and all this stuff. It's like, no, it was like you're blowing it up to more than what it should be. And then so they clarified that, and it's not. I don't think it's a good thing that they're working 100 hours. But if he's passionate about it, and again, I saw people saying you can't put that they're passionate about it. Everybody's passionate about the fucking games they make. It's just hard. Like, it seems like whatever thing you try to say, there's a certain group of people that will just fucking jump down your throat immediately. And be
I think it's naivety at some point. I mean, there are economies of scale at work here that make it so that it would be nigh impossible for a game to ever come out in a timely way. I saw some people suggesting that we simply have to wait twice as long for games, so that we a game, a 50-hour week instead of a 100-hour week. You now do 2 50-hour weeks, and so we have to wait a bit longer. We have to wait an extra year for our games and stuff like that. But that doesn't take into account the realities of the economical implications of making a game. If you have to pay a person extra for an extra year, that's another $100,000. That blows the budget out a significant amount. In a game where there's 3 people working on it, that's a huge amount. In a game where there's 1,000 people working on it, that is untenable.
Or even just the evolution of games. We talked about this. No game is perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect game. People create something, and then they're always changing it. They're always evolving, whether it be the art or the way a specific mechanic works. They keep going back, and they're at no stage are they all right, that's I'm pretty happy with that. And so you'll end up in this cycle where a game would probably never come out because people are always changing the way certain things work.
Forever.
Yeah, and this idea that it's a games industry problem, I don't agree with either. This happens in all industries, whether it be I've worked in a bunch. There's been days where I've worked, over 20 hours because something's gone wrong, and I need to fix this, and that's not because fucking my worker's like, you need to fix this, you can't go home. It's like, no, because I need to try and sort this shit out, otherwise there'll be a lot of problems.
Yeah.
Or like working in hospitality. There are crunch times in hospitality where sometimes, between a certain time of the day, it's fucking busy as hell. And sometimes you maybe have to work that extra, do that 17, 18-hour shift because somebody's called in sick or whatever. Like, these things happen everywhere. And to say that it's a games industry problem, like, I get it. There is crunch time around things like release and E3, and certain times of the day. But yeah, to say that Rockstar is exploiting their thousands of workers that have worked on this game, and they're all working 100 hours a week for 7 years, and you're not going to buy their game, I think is fucking nuts, man. But all because, like, the co-founder of the studio said that he worked 100 hours a week, 3 weeks of the 7 years they worked on it. And it was 4 people, him and 3 other people. He's writing stuff. And and you're like, I'm not going to buy their game. Fuck you. And it's like...
That's insane.
It's nuts, man. It's so crazy to say that sort of thing. I think it's bonkers. Anyway, yeah. I do think it was blown up a little bit too much.
Absolutely was. Yeah. Look.
I'm sure we'll get flack. Someone will fucking
Probably.
post this and we'll get our asses destroyed.
Whatever.
I just don't agree with certain things, man. I don't like being so negative about everything on the fucking internet these days. I'm usually pretty chill about it. There's things I'll blow up about, but I tend to feel like I'm generally critical. Like, I'm looking at, like, when I'm being negative about a game, it's because I'm being critical about it. The other thing I'm worried about is I'm interested to see what happens with these reviews. If people start talking about it, how much they take into account, like, certain websites about this news. I'm pretty curious to see what happens with that.
Look, I don't think it should be incorporated into reviews because I don't think it impacts the game itself, and I think it is unbelievably naive to pretend like no other studio is putting in long weeks, 3 weeks out of 7 years, the concept of it being exploitative or not is like 80-hour weeks are essentially as bad as 100-hour weeks.
Sure.
So pretending that like other AAA games should be allowed to get away with it, and only single out Red Dead Redemption 2 would be specifically intellectually dishonest. So I don't think that they should incorporate it unless they're going to, from then on, talk about the man hours required for every single fucking game and calculate it against, do an average work per week.
Man hours.
Man hours.
And that's the thing we've talked about in the past, is like where you've personally had studios attack you over reviews, and it's because like, our budget is not as big as AAA studios, and it's like, well, we're not reviewing your game based on your budget and your finances and how many hours you put in. We're critiquing your game on the end product.
Exactly.
And what are we going to start doing? Getting fucking financial information and man-hour worksheets on all these games and start taking that into consideration, or whether someone said something bad on Twitter, and all of a sudden you lose a point for that, because that negates the hundreds of thousands of people that worked on this game. I think it's fucking dumb. It's stupid.
Yes.
Anyway,
although hundreds of thousands of people did not work on any game. Just to clarify.
Unless it's a Ubisoft game.
CNC remasters are incoming.
Maybe.
Did we talk about this last week? Yeah,
No.
They were pretty vague about it. But basically, Command and Conquer wrote in a bunch of places that they were excited to say that they'd heard responses to Rivals, and that they were working on bringing back the classic Command and Conquer, basically the idea is that remasters are the strategy there,
Right. I'm glad it took him 6 months to
as an
figure this
idea.
part out. Like from that E3 reveal when people were like, "Ah,
Yeah.
okay,
Oh,
boo."
cool. It's not Command and Conquer. Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't know if I need a remaster of Command and Conquer.
Right.
It's one of those things where you go back and play a game. It's like, yeah, those mechanics don't hold up.
Right.
Yeah,
Some
the
of them.
nostalgia thing of like, I remember distinctly like Red Alert and those types of games, like how well they played. And I don't want to go back and be like, oh man, this is rough.
General's still great. So
You think? Oh, you played it
yeah,
recently?
yeah, we played it recently.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
So yeah, it's still awesome. So hated it. Jump off, motherfucker. Like, if you're shitting on generals, I'll fucking end you. What did you fucking say to me, mate? I have I'm a fucking Navy SEAL, etc., etc. Yeah. Anyway,
You know what I want
yeah,
to see? I want to see, and it's something I believe they could definitely do, and I know who can do it. I want to see Renegades 2 get fucking DICE on board
holy
and get
shit,
them
yes,
to make it.
do it. That'd be fucking amazing. That would be spectacular.
Yeah.
That's what they should do next year instead of Battlefront 3 or whatever the fuck. They should do Renegades 2. That is the best fucking idea.
Yeah.
Holy fuck, that'd be so good. It'd be amazing. All right.
Cool.
Hitman 2, Scene Bean. They released a trailer.
He hasn't been
put it
killed
up
enough in
Discord.
films.
Yeah. He's the elusive target for Hitman 2. And it's pretty good. He like hams it up a lot as this person who's been killed or people have tried to kill him a lot. And yeah, so yeah, it's a good trailer. You should check it out. I'm really excited for Hitman 2. I've been watching a bunch of videos of like what people played at E3 and stuff, and yeah, I'm pumped.
Sure.
Man.
My only criticism about it is I don't think it's a good time to release it.
Right.
I think this should have been a. I was talking about this the other day to some of the 2K guys, like that lull between July and August where nothing comes out.
Okay,
Seems like
yeah.
a perfect game for around then. I think end of the year, November, is not a good spot for it. I think it's going to get lost.
November 13. I mean, it's alongside Battlefield 5, isn't it?
Yeah,
Since
around
Battlefield
then.
5 moved.
Is it? It's doing that episodic thing again?
I don't know.
Because that might be its only sort of saving grace. Is that if they're doing like monthly updates,
Right.
then yeah, that's cool. But yeah, says it's a sequel to 2016, so
Yeah.
and that was a bit episodic.
Yep. Oh, here we go. So, elusive target number 1, entitled "The Undying." So he's not playing Sean Bean. He's playing Mark Faber,
Okay,
notoriously known as the Undying, and a former MI5 agent turned freelance assassin, whose reputation as a master of faking his own death is second to none. Once the mission is available, players must stop Faber before he can utilize his expert surveillance, infiltration, and demolition skills to complete a contract at the Global Innovation Racing event in Miami. Miami is the Formula One or supercar racing event that will be the first, at least the first level. If they're doing the episodic thing, it'll be the first
it's not.
installment.
I checked; it's not episodic, which is strange.
That is odd.
Because I thought it worked well.
I wasn't a fan, but I did think it worked out well for them. Yeah, I was a fan of the game. I just didn't like. I waited until it was all out. But yeah, so yeah, he's the first elusive target. That's pretty cool. It's a cool fucking addition, I think.
Yep,
Cool.
that's it. That's all the news, I think.
That is it.
All right. Do we have any questions?
We do have a question.
You have to do this. I can't bring it up.
Simo Templar writes, "Hey guys, have either of you played Ring of Elysium? I can't remember if you have talked about it, but if you haven't, I was wondering what your haven't talked about it. I was wondering what your thoughts are. It feels like a much better version of PUBG with better traversal of the map. The three classes mix up the playing strategy so that everyone isn't doing the same thing. The end game also feels a lot more meaningful than PUBG, with the helicopter escape requiring patience and strategy as opposed to a straight shootout to finish. I've been having a ton of fun playing it. Keen to hear your thoughts and keep up the good work, guys. Have you played it?
No, the only thing I've seen of it is streams. I watched a couple streams.
Yeah.
This is the
What's this
10-cent
helicopter
game.
thing?
What?
Yeah. What's this helicopter thing?
What helicopter thing?
The helicopter escape.
Oh, I don't know. I've not seen that part.
Watching streams.
Just watching streams. Obviously, people that aren't very good.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome. That sounds really interesting, like a proper escape as opposed to just battling it out. I have it installed, but I never got around to playing it.
Yeah. It seems very PUBG, like, because it's from Tencent. It's doing all like the very similar style. Like, you look at things on the ground and they look exactly the same. At least back when, a couple months back when it was in early access alpha or something like that.
Yeah, and you needed to like do some like stuff to get it, right? Like you needed some crazy launcher and all this kind of stuff. I remember trying to get it, but giving up. Okay, how to do it.
But they've got like different ways to traverse around the environment. It's like a snowboard, and that's really cool. Like I was jokingly looking, like watching somebody. I mean, do a fucking barrel roll, and then I did a flip, and it was it was crazy. There's like tricks and shit you can do on the snowboard. Yeah, it looks interesting. I just don't know right now if that's the game I want to get into.
Right.
I don't know if it's got Australian servers. I feel like it does because I've seen a bunch of Aussies streaming it. But at the same time, yeah, Blackout is out, and it's not a good time to launch that because it only just, I think, hit access free to play recently, right? Like the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So, I'm not really certain, but yeah, I'm not really certain when it actually hit, but like. Yeah, it was in the last couple of weeks. Yeah, it's gonna be really hard to bring myself to play it because I've got Blackout and everyone's playing Blackout. But if we can get a group together, I'm sure I can be convinced. I want to see this helicopter shit.
Yeah, I think it's got bots in it.
Oh, okay.
At least when I saw it a couple months back. I have watched it recently, but a couple months back, I'm pretty sure I had bots, like players in the game. Sort of roaming around. I don't know if they were considered as like players in the game or if it was just like random enemies that you could kind of shoot.
Right. Okay.
So, yeah, that's something I need to look in a bit more, I guess.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Cool. Good question, Simo. Yeah, we'll check it out. Yeah. Cool. All right. What else we got? That's it. That's all the questions.
Cool.
That's
the show. You can find us on iTunes, Android, Windows Store, under the Gap, the GA Podcast. If you search for us on there, you should find us. We're on the front page of iTunes all the time. I checked like 4 days straight, and we're always on the front page. So, at least in Australia. I'm not sure about the US. Probably not. We're not that popular. But in Australia, we're there. You can also find us on social media. Facebook.com/GA Podcast. Twitter.com/GA Podcast. If you want to send us any questions, you can email us, thegapodcast@gmail.com. Did we get any emails? I didn't check. I know we've been getting a lot because of PAX and like it's the end of the year and everyone's like, hey, do you want to do this? And it's busy. So you can email us there if you want. If you want to jump onto Discord, play games with us, you can go to gapodcast.com/Discord. Got a bunch of channels on there, as well as chat channels. You can leave messages, questions. Joab posts things sometimes. But we're playing Blackout right now, so jump in and play some Blackout. Get some quads, multiple quads going.
Clouds.
Yeah. If you want to also find us on YouTube, you can go to youtube.com/GA Podcast. You can find our video, which we're publishing at the same time as the podcast goes up. Sure. Drop us some feedback, subscribe, let us know how we're going on there, if you like it or not. I don't know. What else we could improve. Yeah, let us know. If you want to go to our website, which has all the links to things we just talked about, thegapodcast.com. It's got past episodes of the show up there. And all the links we just talked about, you can find them all out there if you can't remember them. And that is all thanks to our Patreon members. If you want to help support the show, go to patreon.com/GA podcast. Helps us pay the bills and put the show up every week. Much
You're the best.
appreciated.
You are.
I think that's
appreciated.
It's for this week.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You got anything going up?
Yeah, so you can go to survivor.com, check out my Battlefield 5 single-player war stories content, as well as hopefully some interview things.
Sure.
Yeah, you can go to that. And obviously I think it was last week, did we talk about Fallout 76? Yeah, you can go to Press Start and check out my article if you want to.
Cool.
You don't have to, but you should go click it. What about yourself? You had a bunch of things go up.
Yeah, so you can check out my tips for how to be better at Blackout on Red Bull. You can check out my massive Red Dead Redemption piece that's still going pretty strong on Red Bull as well. About trying to find a fishing rod. And I have an interview that is going up with one of Australia's best arena players. So he's heading over to BlizzCon and he's quite excited. So yeah, talk to him. Put that together. Still waiting on a couple of other interviews to come back, like answer my questions.
Yeah,
which is being annoying, but yeah, it's should be good.
Cool. All right, next week is PAX. I'm going to PAX. Joab is staying at home because there's a game called Red Dead Redemption that's coming out. Red Dead Redemption 2.
True.
So this episode will actually go up probably a little bit earlier. And there's a good reason for that. I can't say why at the moment.
Sure.
But there is a good reason for that. So yeah, if you're at PAX and you do see me roaming around, come say hi. It'd be fun. We talk about games.
Cool.
But yeah, should be. Are you excited about not going to PAX?
I am actually excited about not going to PAX.
First time.
Because I'm going to spend an entire fucking weekend playing the game of the year.
Yeah, right. When I get back, I will be playing Red Dead Redemption 2, I guess. Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Exciting stuff. All right. See you then.
Catch you later.